have a document.
Save $100 on the Craftsman V26 Tool Power Tool Combo Kit, now at $199. No matter what the project is, Craftsman's high-quality, high-performance products empower you to build on. Stop by your nearest Lowe's store and check out the full line of Craftsman tools today. Valid through 6/18 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
Tony Gwynn Jr. here from Gwynn and Chris. We have three very different personalities on the show, and that means you're probably going to connect with one of us. Join us weekdays from 2 to 6 p.m. on 97.3 The Fan.
KWFN and KWFN HD1 San Diego.
What's up? This is Jeremiah Estrada.
Estrada delivers swing and a miss, strike three.
Padres play here on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
And Odyssey Sports Station. Attention, 97.3 The Fan listeners. If you're drowsy, sluggish, or feeling fatigued, you're about to get your afternoon boost with Tony Gwynn Jr.
Don't panic.
Starting pitcher. I wasn't panicking.
You look like you panicked.
Chris Ello.
That's what Buster Polney considered.
And Matt Scraby.
That's an old guy thing to do. Like, I'm not going to deal with these automated balls and strikes.
Don't blame us for any side effects.
You thrilled our fans throughout the postseason with a great performance.
Gwynn and Chris are ready to go.
And welcome into it, everybody. It's finally a Friday, and we welcome you into the Gwynn and Chris program here on San Diego's #1 sports talk station, 97.3 The Fan. Chris Ello and Frank Marchese's alongside today here in the Odyssey Palace Studios. Of course, Tony Gwynn Jr. down there at Petco Park, where tonight there will be fireworks, Tony. Whether or not they happen during the game, we'll have to find out, but we know there will be fireworks after the game tonight as the Padres kick off the second third of the 2025 season against the Pittsburgh Pirates. How are you, sir?
I'm well. Frank, Walt would be proud. He really would. Man.
Oh, yeah, you got to see the shirt, huh?
It's the first time I got to see the shirt.
Yeah.
Walt would definitely be proud.
Like I wore it last night with my brilliant 5D chess move, picking the Pacers.
Is that what you were doing,
picking
5D
the Pacers
chess?
over the Knicks. I made myself a little bit of a clown with that pick, so I decided
You'd wear your best clown outfit today.
I'd look a little bit like a clown.
So basically, Chris and I shamed you into,
it's a self-imposed punishment. I wouldn't say it's a shaming; it's a self-imposed punishment.
Yes,
Fair
Frank
enough.
took endless heat because his favorite team is the Knicks, and he selected
Jumped
against
ship.
them last night.
He jumped ship.
Yes, and he may do it 2 more times if he thinks it'll work.
Now he's going
to win the series. So
You keep your expectations low, so this way you're easily excitable. That's what happens.
Yeah, you do seem pretty fired up over that. And thanks for wearing the shirt. And Tony's referring to Walt Clyde Frazier, who's the garishly dressed Knicks announcer, as to where Frank may have gotten that shirt from, the Walt Frazier collection. Anyway, we're here, and guess who else is here, Tony?
Who?
Well, the Pirates. But that brings to town one of the biggest influencers on Twitter in the sports world, and that would be Paul Skeens's lovely girlfriend, Olivia Dunne. And she's here because she's tweeting about how wonderful San Diego is. And that has all of the Padre fans in an uproar heading into this series, thinking that could mean Paul Skeens someday finds his way to the Padres, because Livy Dunne is pretty excited about being here. So welcome to town, Livy. Hope you have a good weekend. We wish your boyfriend was pitching. We would like to see him pitch here in San Diego, but he's going to miss the series.
I don't know that anybody is upset.
No, I know, right? Yeah,
not pitching. But I get what you mean. Nonetheless, Padres, 2 winners of the last 2 series, get a chance to try to win a third. Pirates, I think, are playing a little bit better than they were the last time. The Padres faced them. Listen, I got some news here.
What you got?
Kevin Acee on Twitter, Michael King has been on anti-inflammatories to help with what is being described as a pinched nerve.
Oh boy.
There remains no timeline as they need to see how he responds in the next few days. Could be back in a week, could be out through All-Star break.
Ooh.
MRI was reviewed by an outside doc. So I think that ultimately, everybody's going to hear could be out to the All-Star break, and
right.
immediately
think the worst.
Immediately go to that. And listen, that is a reality. That can be a thing. But these anti-inflams, if they do the job that they think it will relieve him and possibly allow him to start, throwing again, or at least put him in a place where he can throw. But this is kind of why you have to approach it the way they have, right? It's okay, cool. You slept on your shoulder wrong. Fine. Well, okay, we'll give it a day. Next day you come out and you're feeling the same way. Can you imagine if they would have said, all right, let's wait another day? Like at some point you have to then make the move, kind of spearheading it ahead of time.
Yeah.
That, let's put you on the IL. Let's figure out what this is. And then we can kind of make the process go from there. And so, that is the news I have for
thanks you, Tony. That's terrific news. I think my news that Olivia Dunne was in town was better news than that. But, look, we both had to share. The other thing that the Michael King situation points out is something that when we say it, people don't really think it means that much. But what we say is you can never have too much pitching.
Yeah.
And you always think, no, we're good, right? We got King, we got Cease, we now have Pivetta, we've got Darvish coming back, we've got Waldron coming back, we've got Vasquez already. That's 6-7 guys right there.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's not, because
that's right.
King's not here, Darvish isn't here, Waldron's not ready. And now you're down to 4, and that 4 includes Stephen Kolek, who's doing a nice job, but, wasn't really part of your original plans. And you don't even have a 5th right now, Tony, unless you're going to give Kyle Hart another shot, and they haven't announced whether they're going to do that yet.
I have to say, you have to give people a break, right? Because it's hard to think of those things when everything is going good.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah,
like when everybody's healthy, you're not thinking about it, right? You're not even worried about somebody. but the moment they miss a start,
right,
it's like the antennas come up, right? And, we knew I think going into spring or just before spring, right? There was like, well, okay, you got Cease, you got King, and then you're going to have to need another pitcher. So they get Pivetta, right? And then you still aren't sure that there's enough there, right? Because Darvish is finished the year the way he did. So he starts spring training a little bit late. You got those 3 guys though, and Vasquez is throwing the ball well. At the time it was Kyle Hart fighting for that last spot in that rotation along with Kolek. And how it played out was they went with Hart. Everybody in the rotation was healthy. Obviously Hart went down and they kind of went with a 4-man there for a little bit because off days permitted it. And everybody was healthy running through that. No one missed a start, and they were winning games. And even when they weren't winning games, you didn't have to worry about health. And then boom, all of a sudden one guy goes down, and all of a sudden now there's the much higher interest in you, Darvish. Well, where's you at? When is he coming?
Yeah, hurry up, you. Ready? Yeah,
right. And that's kind of goes back to the original point, where you always knew that the Padres were going to need some more arms at some point. You just didn't know where they were going to come from. If they were going to be a move, or if they were going to get some bring up somebody from the minor leagues. However, that was going to work. And so, they're in a spot right now where they're going to have to. They're going to have to, figure out a way to kind of manage this next, 23 and 24 stretch here?
I think it's 26 and 27. And,
26 and 27?
I believe in the article in the paper today, Kevin Acee wrote straight up that the Padres coming into this stretch were originally planning to go with a 6-man rotation. over the next few weeks. I don't know if you had seen that, Tony.
And
so according to the story, again, I'm reading, what he wrote today was that the Padres were going to go with a 6-man rotation. Well, that's completely been blown up at this point because you don't have the arms to even think about doing that over the next 27 days where there's 26 games. And we talked about how important these games are going to be, right? You're going to get the Dodgers, you're going to get the Giants, you're going to get the D-backs, so you're going to finally play within your own division. You'd like to be as healthy as possible, but you're not. And the only good news here is that the Dodgers aren't healthy either.
And that's good. I was just getting ready to say.
People forget about the rest of it out there. It's all happening to everybody in a way.
Exactly. Yeah. It's happening to everybody. This isn't a Padre exclusive thing. I know nobody really cares about the other teams, but everybody's going through something like this right now. And so listen, I said this at the round table the other day. This is where you start to find out how teams are cut, right? Like, no team generally is healthy the whole season. At some different points of the year, different guys have to step in for a little bit of time. And the Padres have had to do that already, this year, quite a bit with when they were missing most of their offense. Now it comes down to the arms now. Can they fill that void as the arms are going through their first little bit of an injury streak here, or injury bug, I guess you would say.
Sure. Yeah. Well, the offense is going to be called upon a little bit. I think, 5 or 6 runs is going to be, a little nicer to have now. We might still win a couple games here, 2-1, 3-1, but you'd like to have a few more runs, give support. Now tonight, Nick Pavetta's pitching. He's been lights out. Doesn't mean the game's already been in the bag. It's certainly not. Mitch Keller will pitch for the Pirates. 6:40 is the start. We have Cease tomorrow, Vasquez on Sunday, and then the 4-game series begins in San Francisco with Kolek and a question mark, which isn't on paper what you want starting the Giants series, because the Giants are starting with Logan Webb. And so, they'll have their ace lined up for that first game, but can't look ahead to that quite yet. Got to get the Pirates here this weekend and take care of business, which is something the Padres have done this year. The Padres have played 25 games this year, Tony, against teams that are currently under 500, 25 games, and they're 20-5. So the Padres have done what you're supposed to do against the lower level teams. And they were 20-4 until they lost to the Marlins on Wednesday. So it just goes to show, because the record is good, you still got to go out and win a ball game tonight. So we'll hope they can do that. David Morgan, the newest of the Padre relievers, is scheduled to be our guest in our Friar Friday segment today. I believe that will be coming up on our next segment. Stick around. We'll have a chance to meet him. We got a Big Five. We got our Friday countdown. We got all the good stuff as we roll along here and kick off the weekend here. Chris Ello, Tony Gwynn Jr., and Frank in for Scraby today on San Diego's numero uno sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
For those of you on
that have to look at Frank's shirt.
That have to look at not only Frank's shirt, but in the opinion of the break, me crunching on this apple.
Yeah.
As we came off onto the screen. So
I know.
Nonetheless, Gwynn and Chris, real quick. I don't know if you guys saw the tweet by Dennis Lin earlier this morning. This is not official. This is according to Dennis Lin. The Padres are, reportedly going to select the contract of top relief prospect Bradley Rodriguez.
I did see this, yes, actually.
And so just another little piece of news to pass on. That has not been officially put out there by the Padres. That is just according to the report, the tweet by Dennis Lin.
And just so we're all on the same page, I saw a tweet today that said the Padres were bringing up Leo Dallas DeVries for the weekend series. I don't believe that's accurate. So people, look, you got to go through this stuff with a watchful eye. You never know exactly where it's going to go.
No, I definitely had to double check before I did that. But nonetheless, that is kind of what we got. A few of the Pirates out now currently taking some BP. Padres, we talked about the record against teams that are below 500.
Yeah.
They don't have very many of those coming up here soon.
No, they don't.
It is why
right.
it is why it is important that they take care of business here, because you do have, obviously the Giants coming up after that. You got a Milwaukee team that's playing a lot better. You got the Dodgers behind that for a 4-game set. And so, and I believe Arizona right after that.
And then the Dodgers again.
And then the Dodgers again on the flip side.
It's a tough stretch for sure.
You definitely got a tough stretch. You definitely want to be able to go out and continue to take care of business against opponents that have been below 500.
Right. And the thing is, Tony, we talk about it a lot, and I think the Padre naysayers will look at this differently than you and I do. The naysayers will point out that the Padres really aren't that good, because their record against winning teams at the moment, teams that have winning records, the Padres are just 11-15. But you and I will point out correctly that almost every team is only right around 500 against other winning teams.
Right.
And I can prove that by telling you the Dodgers are 10-9, the Cubs are 12-13 against winning teams. But successful teams, they tread water against the other good teams, and then they crush the bad teams. That's how you have a successful season. And that is what the Padres have done to this point. So hope they keep it up this weekend.
Still waiting on lineups. Mitch Keller, though.
Yep.
Mitch Keller. Nick Pivetta, though, will face off tonight. Mitch Keller had a good first couple innings against the Padres in Pittsburgh, and then they started to get after him a little bit.
He's a fair pitcher though, Tony. I think you know that. And 3.66 ERA is legit. Plays for the Pirates though, so he's 1-6.
Right.
You know, so
he's collecting decisions. He's out there, but
he's out there. They're just not helping him out too much. I did see before we're waiting for David Morgan to join us here in a minute or two. The business of the world of baseball, and you get this better than any of us. Today, the Marlins DFA'd, designated for assignment, the kid second baseman, Ronnie Simon, who made the errors the other night. And, you know, God, your heart goes out to the guy, honestly. He had a bad night, and apparently for now, it's cost him his job. I mean, think about the kind of pressure. We don't see it, right? We just see you're in the big leagues, go have fun, play ball. But, man, you're trying to make your way to the majors, and then something like that happens, and you end up losing your job over it. I hope he gets another opportunity somewhere, and I imagine he will. It's too early in his career, but that's a bit of a sobering, situation, isn't it?
Yeah, there's no doubt. It is the business. All right. I think our Friday guest is ready. Padre reliever David Morgan joins us here on Gwynn and Chris on this Friday. David, thank you for your time. How are you, my friend?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Let's start with you finally got some action out there, man. You came in. What was your pulse like at that time? Did you have any nerves? I'm sure you did, but just talk a little bit about what it felt like to get on that mound finally.
Yeah, there was definitely a little bit of nerves, going out there. Didn't really have enough time to think about it. Close game in the 8th inning. Got to go out there and get 2 outs. So, didn't think about myself too much. Just wanted to get 2 outs, help the team win. Obviously, packed house, sold out stadium. It was pretty loud, but that was a cool moment.
I was going to say, David, I mean, I don't care. You got to, even if you think you're a pretty cool customer, running out there in a packed stadium like that, trying to remind yourself, don't worry about it. I've done this a million times. I've pitched. I know how to, stepped on the rubber. I look at the catcher. I get the sign. I throw the ball. But it's not the same, right? I mean, it's just at least for a moment, like you said, it's not the same.
Right. Yeah. No, there's definitely a pulse to it for sure.
David, you obviously, well, not obviously, it sounds like you grew up a Padre fan, enjoyed this team. I mean, what was the era that you were paying attention to as a Padre fan?
I mean, kind of all of it, but
okay.
When I really look back on it, early 2000s, with Hoffman and PV, those dudes were kind of my idols growing up. I got to meet Hoffy obviously when I signed, and he reached out to me yesterday and texted me, sent me a pretty cool text. So it's pretty awesome to, idolize those guys and now have those guys in my corner. But yeah, that early 2000s team. And then obviously, kind of what's been happening here, later, 2019, 2020, how this organization has gone and how cool it's been and getting into the playoffs now. And, obviously it's been a little bit different now. Team's grown a lot, and the stadium is loud and, kind of paid attention to it all though, but that early 2000s team was pretty cool to me.
David Morgan is our guest. He's from Southern California, as Tony kind of alluded to, Mission Viejo, and you attended the famous, and if you haven't played like a college basketball preseason game against this school, you probably have never heard of them, Hope International University in Fullerton. And I bring this up, David, because I think young people who are growing up in the game think that they have to be on the biggest stage to get discovered. And I think people around baseball will always say, no matter where you are, they'll find you. And so I think you're a great example of that, right? You're at Hope University. Tell us how, you felt you were discovered and were able to get from there to here.
Yeah, it's been a wild journey. You know, I had aspirations to play at a big school, and I kind of thought that was my only way in here. But, you know, playing for Coach Altabelli at a junior college, he kind of showed me the path of what it was going to look like and who I needed to impress, and ended up going to an even smaller school than that. And my coaches there told me, hey, the reality of your situation is you know, tougher than most, and you have a really good arm, so why don't you step on the mound and just, you know, give yourself a better shot. And started pitching a little bit, grew some interest in me there, and got invited out to Petco because of that, and then got a shot, and they ended up signing me as a pitcher. So the dream was always to be here as a shortstop, and obviously that changed a little bit.
We should have known you were also a shortstop. Every Padres used to be a shortstop, I think.
Right, yeah. I mean, regardless of how I got here, it doesn't really matter. I'm still playing the game and still have a chance to, you know, play in the big leagues and, you know, help this team win. So regardless of how, you know, I'm still here.
David Morgan joins us here on Gwynn and Chris. He has gotten a couple tastes of being on that big league mound. Let's talk a little bit about your pitching coach, Ruben Niebla. I mean, everybody seems to really enjoy being around him. For you personally, I know you've gotten to work with him a little bit in spring, obviously, and now you're getting to work side by side. What has been some things that you've been able to kind of take away from Ruben and apply some of the knowledge he's given you?
I think the biggest thing is just how competitive he is. You know, he's an animal. he's an awesome dude to work with. You know, doesn't give any handouts. You know, he is on top of it every single day, and you know, he watches my throwing program and my touch and feels before games, and you know, gives me a little feedback here and there. Obviously, being new, he didn't want to change too much right out the gates, but you know, I'm sure as I keep throwing, you know, he'll have more stuff for me. But I think the biggest thing is just how competitive he is and how much he wants to win.
David Morgan is with us. How is your welcome to the Padre bullpen? How do those guys bring a new pitcher into the fold out there? Are there any? They didn't pull any pranks on you, or would they? That you could share?
No pranks.
No pranks. Okay, good. But how was that?
Some of the starters kind of played around with me a little bit my first time up here, but nothing too much. The bullpen's been very, very welcoming. You know, obviously, you know, you get to this stage and, you know, nothing but congratulations for me, and, you know, welcome me in with open arms, and they want to see me succeed, because if I'm out there succeeding, then we're winning. So yeah, no pranks from the bullpen, a little bit from the starters, but nothing too bad.
Do you have a pair of City Connect shoes yet?
Not shoes, no.
Not shoes. All right. Well, what do you? You have a glove?
City Connect.
I had like a mint colored glove.
Okay.
You know, like from 44 from a while ago. I don't know if I have it with me anymore. But no, nothing.
You better go home and get it, David. You might need it tonight, Friday night.
Yeah.
Have your parents and family been able to see you yet and experience some of this with you?
Yeah. They've been at the games. I've been getting them into the family section. They've been able to come down on the field after games and stuff. So got to celebrate with them after I debuted. And yeah, that was really cool to see all my friends and family out here supporting.
Well, David, off to a good start, man. We've enjoyed watching you so far. Congratulations. Good luck the rest of the way. We know you got to get out of here. Thanks for spending some time with us.
Right on. Yeah. Thanks for having me.
No problem. David Morgan, Padres relief pitcher, young relief pitcher, making his debut a few days ago, and you know, gave up a tough run, but then came back and punched out the side thereafter.
Yes, he did.
So,
yeah, this guy had a 19 strikeout, 1 walk ratio in the minors this year. And
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't know until his first pitch that he was throwing that hard.
Right,
I mean,
95 to a hundo.
He's running it up there.
And it's also nice to know, which I don't think anybody listening even knew until we just interviewed him. But if Xander Bogaerts goes down, Jake Cronenworth goes down, Fernando goes down, Jackson Merrill goes down, Manny Machado goes down, and everybody else who plays shortstop goes down, we always got David Morgan, apparently. So he's another shortstop on this roster.
There it is. All right,
crazy.
let's get to break. Where are we going after this? Frank?
Mike Schilt was on the morning show today. We got to get some updates.
He has some updates for us.
Yes, sir.
Let's get to it. More Gwynn and Chris on the other side.
Look, I think a pretty good start. Get the striking out the side there after the home run. I mean, bouncing back, Tony, that's an important part of pitching. I know people are going to say, well, he gave up the home run. Yeah, he did, but he got it right back together. And that's a good sign right then and there. So
he had to, yeah. That's you see those type of innings can crumble on a young guy real quick, and he didn't allow that to happen.
Well done. And we'll chit-chat about that a little bit. Make sure you don't miss the manager's report Friday mornings, 9 a.m. on Ben and Woods. The manager report refreshed by EcoWater SoCal. Try alkaline water for just $9.95 a month. EcoWater SoCal, keeping it soft since 1925. And speaking of that, we'll have some stuff from Mike Schultz interview this morning with Ben and Woods in just a second. But Tony, it's not my all-time favorite thing to do, but I think I need to take a minute here. We lost two people in the last few days here. One very close to you and I, a guy that I played ball with back at San Diego State, great friend of your father's, Ken Davis, passed earlier this week. And he when they had the celebration of life for your dad at Petco Park, Ken Davis was sitting with your mother during that ceremony. So, I mean, you talk about a close family friend. He and I actually roomed together for an entire year. I think it was my junior year at San Diego State after playing baseball together for a couple of years. Just an unbelievable guy, selfless guy, always smiling and laughing and doing what he could and there for anybody at any time, Tony. And I was really saddened by this one.
This one hit me pretty good too. My mom called me on it, and she was pretty distraught about it. And she had actually, got a chance to see him. It was very abrupt and fast, his illness. And he went from, walking in a hallway to being, basically in bed rest. And it was a tough couple of days. Prayers to the Davis family. Kenny was my dad's best. Like, my dad didn't have very many friends that he hung out with a lot, but Kenny was at every one of, I think, Thanksgiving. He was there every year. And the few times my dad did have somebody over for a Super Bowl or something like that, it was always Kenny. So man, it was a tough week last week for us, for sure.
Yeah, Kenny was a great guy to like I said, to be around. I know that he and your dad roomed together down there. The first couple of years Kenny was in school, there was I think two other guys who lived there who were from Eugene, Oregon as well. And then your dad was kind of the fourth guy, but Kenny just befriended them. And then after your dad got drafted, Kenny ended up hooking up with myself, and we lived over here in La Mesa for a while. So, really saddened by this. And then, so yes, all the best. And he was just, way too young, man, in his, just early 60s. Shouldn't happen. And as sad as that is, even sadder, Tony, found out today, 40 years old, Greg Nassen. He was a video coordinator for the San Diego State Athletic Department. And he worked there, shooting, video, shooting all the football practices, all the games, putting all the videos together for San Diego State sports, not just football, but mostly football. I got to know him a little bit when we traveled back when I was broadcasting with Ted Leitner several years ago. I got to know Greg a little bit, not a lot, but really saddened to hear he passed after a battle with cancer. And again, 40 years old, just not right. No. John David Wicker, many others talking about extolling the greatness of this young man, including Rocky Long, who was quoted as saying that Greg was a great team member. He had what every team needs: work ethic, optimism, belief, and the willingness to do whatever he could to help us win. Greg will be missed, and there's no question. So, again, there's going to be a celebration for life for Greg in July. And our thoughts from this program, and I know everybody at San Diego State, go out to his mother and father, 2 brothers, 1 sister. And he was raised right here in San Diego, went to Mira Mesa High. So very sad. And I hate to, I don't want to bring everybody down, but we need to take a moment to appreciate some of these people.
Yeah,
and they're friends of ours, and I'm going to always do that. So, sorry to have to pass any along that information to anybody who did not know it. All right. Boy, that's kind of tough to go from that to Mike Schilt telling us that Michael King is still on the mend. Puts it into a little better perspective, I hope. But yes, Mike Schilt was on with Ben and Woods this morning. And here is what he did say on the update about the ace of the Padres staff, Michael King.
With Michael, we've been able to rule out a couple of things which are really positive. Nothing structurally in the shoulder, cuff, cap, rotator, any of that. Everything's strong, stable. So that's really positive. Nothing circular, which is also very, very positive. And what they've been able to diagnose is there's some compression on a nerve that needs to relax a little bit. And when it does, he's going to be ready to go. The timing of that, they're just, that could be a short period of time. He is showing like some slight moderate improvement. But it's more of a time thing. And, but yeah, the medical group, which does a great job, has their arms around it and then specified what it is. And now it's a matter of, getting it to where it's no longer bothersome for Michael.
Tony, you said earlier that Kevin Acee reported, and kind of piggybacking off of what Mike Schilt said, that hopefully it'll be sooner, but it could be lingering. And I know people are going to reach their own conclusions out there, and the naysayers, of which Scraby would be if he were here, would tell you, well, then I'm sure he'll be out to the All-Star break, because the Padres never really tell us what the deal is. So, if you want to think those conspiracies, go ahead. I'm pretty sure the Padres want to get Michael King back as soon as he's going to be able to pitch, Tony. I don't believe they're sitting there going, he's probably going to be out till the All-Star break, and we're not going to even think about it. I mean, the All-Star break's 6 more weeks away. So let's hope that's not the case for sure here.
Yeah. No, I think Kevin has to kind of give you a short time frame and the longest time frame on that. And so that's just what it is. It could be the beginning, it could be the middle, it could be the first quarter, whatever it is. They're going to try to figure it out before he gets back on the mound and starts throwing again. And listen, you're going to need him in that back half probably as much as you're going to need him right now.
Yes, I think the tendency is going to be for everybody to think, with all these games coming up against the Dodgers and the Giants, that we got to get him back. Well, guess what? There's going to be a whole nother round of games against the Dodgers and the Giants. They're going to be just as important, if not more so, later in the year. You don't want him missing that. So try to keep that in perspective going forward. Darvish, if he could return, that would be huge. But I don't know that that's looking all that great either. Here's Mike Schilt said about Darvish today to Ben and Woods.
He is progressing, arms moving. He's been able to play more aggressive catch. Just recovery with you. Yep. I mean, he went out for the rehab and threw the ball really well. Ball came out, velocity good, pitch is sharp. Just a matter of the ability to do it every 5 or 6 days, and that's the key to all this. And so he's feeling better. He's in good spirits. He's playing, like I say, more aggressive catch, recovering better, and we'll see how he progresses from all of this.
And the thing, go ahead, Tony. Sorry.
I was going to say the part that I think is important is the recover part, right? It's nothing, it seems like, for him to go out and have the outing, but maybe it's not, the recovery isn't within the time frame that they needed. Even if you go 6-man, if you had enough guys to go 6-man, maybe that 5-day rest period is not enough for him right now. And so I think he said at the end there that he is starting to recover a little bit better, meaning in less time. But, I think ultimately you is the one that's going to be dictating when it's time for him to go out there and pitch.
That's what I was going to say when I turned it over to you. I was going to say he's going to decide mostly.
It's going to be completely on him. He knows. I think what we know is that for a guy like you, guys like AJ, guys like Mike, trust him to let them know when he's ready to go.
Yeah.
I just actually witnessed him out here throwing a flat ground. So there's that.
I'll tell him to hurry up. Even though he's going to decide.
I'll let you tell him that. How about that?
I don't know how to say it in Japanese, Tony, so I'm going to have to leave it up to somebody who knows this better than I do. Yeah, so look, I mean, and we talked about it. The Padres are going to have to soldier on here with Pivetta and with Cease and with Kolek and Vasquez and whatever else, they're going to throw. And like the Dodgers aren't going to feel sorry for you because they've got Blake Snell and Tony not Gonsolin, Tyler Glass now. They've got their share of guys and all their relievers too, Trinan and Evan Phillips and on and on that goes. So, everybody has to deal with it. The good teams find a way to get through it, and hopefully the Padres will. There was something that happened the other day, and we just had David Morgan on, and maybe we should have asked him, but I didn't think of it when we had him on. When Lopez hit the home run off of David Morgan to tie the game on Wednesday, did you see the runner at second base, who I believe was Ramirez, the leadoff hitter? He took his left arm and he stuck it straight out.
Yeah.
And I don't know that was a signal to Lopez or what. But it was asked of Mike Schilt today about how the Padres go about dealing with this kind of thing if it is indeed happening.
Well, I mean, there's a lot to unpack here. But just in specifically, yes, we pay attention to it.
Sure. Yeah, I have no doubt.
We have a guy that's in charge of looking at all of that on both sides of the ball. It is rampant among the league. There's every team, some more than others, have overlays, and I mean it's using the technologies as much as possible for all of that. I don't think I need to see your screensaver or whatever you got, but I feel like yes. But if you paid attention to a lot of the series and you looked at that like we do consistently, there was a couple guys just kept their left arm up the whole time. And, there's a subtletyness of like, I don't think that was anything personally. I mean, David Morgan's been in the league about, half a minute. And so he's thrown 6 pitches or so before that game. Maybe they did have something. I don't know.
It just takes one, I guess, right?
and maybe they got something from AAA. I mean, that's, we do our own internal audit, feel pretty good about it.
Yeah.
We watched it. Some of it's just gamesmanship. Some of it's just quirkiness with certain runners that we saw that was consistent regardless of pitch. So, yeah, we were on top of it. If you want to isolate, which I believe a lot of people do, and that's okay to isolate, this move or that guy doing it and then the cause and effect for that, but they don't see the total picture of how it works. And, you can take it out of context and yeah, I'm pretty sure that happens.
All right, there you have that.
I said the same thing. Woods asked me about this after the round table, and I told him that's as obvious as my man Bailey was for the Giants when he got caught.
Right.
When Pivetta was out there, that was beyond obvious. Like my man Ramirez was holding his arm up the whole time.
Yes.
I don't think that was that one wasn't anything. And as he said, there was 6 pitches into his career, or they had something from the minor leagues, which I'm not seeing.
So you're thinking that he put the arm out there to balance himself, or to give the illusion that he was trying to steal sign?
You can go back to the 80s. Guys have been putting their arm up like that, kind of like feeling for the second baseman that's coming in. I mean, that's something that used to happen all the time, and it wasn't necessarily relaying signs. Relaying signs is you don't necessarily need to use your arm, and that's what I'm saying. Bailey was using his looks where he was looking to identify what the pitch was. It's not going to be, thumbs up, thumbs down from second base most of the time.
That is, I was amazed at the Bailey thing, because I didn't even know what was going on, that Giant game.
Yeah.
And Ruben came out and talked to Pivetta, and it seemed like, I just remember remarking, this is a weird visit, nothing's really going on, and he's running out there. And then when Pivetta struck out the hitter and then screamed at Bailey as he's running off the field, I went, something's happening here.
Yeah.
But I just thought it was really impressive that the Padres were like all over it.
But that's the thing, is that in those dugouts, everybody is watching everything.
Yeah.
And I know they're talking about, Mike was talking about they have guys that watch. Players are already examining a lot of that stuff as it's happening in real time.
Have you ever, in any league, in any organized ball, been given the pitches by anybody, you personally?
Yes, for sure.
And this is silly to compare anything you've ever done to a Sunday beer league game that I used to play in. But we played one day, and it was a double header, like 18 innings, like one of those Sundays where we're out at the ballpark for 12 hours. And the catcher on the other team was just basically making it obvious by flashing a 1 or a 2, the sign. And our first base coach, the kid who was, doing that, could see it. And he came in and he told us, he goes, if I tell you to, fire away or, swing freely or anything with an F, it's a fastball. And if I say, come on, or anything like that, it's going to be a curveball because I can see it. And I'm telling you, Tony, even me went like 5 for 5 with 5 doubles. It's really nice to know.
It's amazing how much better of a hitter you are when you know exactly what's coming.
Incredible difference. For people out there who think, well, what's the big deal? It's a big deal.
It's a huge deal.
Yeah.
It's a huge deal.
So, all right. We'll keep an eye on all of that stuff tonight. Do we get a lineup in yet?
We do got a lineup. You guys want it?
Yeah, let's have a little lineup here. I want to see who's in.
Before I have to head out, I'll give it to you.
Give it to us.
Padres will lead off with Fernando Tatis Jr. in right. Luis Ariz at first, Manny Machado at third, Jackson Merrill patrol in center field. Gavin Sheets is your designated hitters. Andrew Bogarts, Jake Cronenworth, Tyler Wade in left, and Elias Diaz at batting ninth. Same lineup as the last game the Padres played.
All right. And the Pirates lineup is out as well. O'Neal
you guys
Cruz
want that one too?
I just like O'Neal Cruz. That guy, what do you think of him, Tony?
I
would, if I was playing first base, I would back up because he hits the ball hard.
He hits the ball really hard. I know he's struggling a little bit right now, but I was impressed with him. The Padres in the last series, clearly picked him out as this is a dude we're not letting.
No.
Not letting, and he took his walks. He played a good center field. I was really impressed with O'Neal Cruz. I know, as I said, I know he's struggling a little bit right now, but I think this dude's got a chance to be one of the dudes in this league.
For sure. And just a quick note on the Pirates lineup to all of you fans who remember the greatness of Adam Frazier and Tommy Pham. They're both in the Pirate lineup tonight. All right, Tony, we'll see you down at the ballpark. I'm heading down there a little later, so enjoy your preparation, and we'll see you. Frank and I will continue with more Gwynn and Chris on 97.3.
See you guys.
to get prepared for tonight's. I think Tony's on television tonight, actually, crossing over to work with Don Orsillo on the TV side tonight. Jesse Agler will be on the radio. That's the way I understand it. But either way, Padre baseball right here on 97.3 The Fan tonight at 6:40. Sam Levitt's pregame show an hour before that. And Tony will be back with us on this program. We got our countdown coming up at the bottom of this hour. Frank, you're involved in the countdown today. So
I am.
We'll look forward to that. And then in the 4 o'clock hour, Tony will join us for our Big Five. So a lot still to get done here. Earlier today, the Cincinnati Reds with a 6-2 win over the Cubs at Wrigley Field. Andrew Abbott having a nice year for the Red Legs. He got the win today, 7 scoreless innings against the hot-hitting Cubs, only allowed 1 hit. And the Reds bullpen hung on from there. Emilio Pagan, our old friend, 14th save of the year for Cincy today in a 6-2 win for the Redlegs. Cubs had a 4-game winning streak snap. That was the only day baseball today. Of course, last night, and we're going to talk about this a little more in the next segment, Frank's New York Knickerbockers, despite Frank rooting against his own team.
It didn't root against them.
I know.
Picked against them.
I'm kidding you, but they got a win, and they won it rather comfortably over Indiana, 111-94. So the Knicks stay alive in the East. Game 6 will be tomorrow night. We'll talk more about that. Also, last night, if you missed it, Edmonton. I know you hockey fans, but I still get into the Stanley Cup, especially when they get down near the finals. Edmonton beat Dallas 5-3, so it'll be an Edmonton-Florida rematch in the Stanley Cup Finals. It is only the second Stanley Cup rematch in the last 41 years. The other one was Pittsburgh-Detroit, played back-to-back in 2008, 2009. They split those 2 series. Before that, Frank, you got to go back to 1983, 84.
Yep, that was.
And I know you weren't alive, but I know you know it.
Edmonton.
It was the Islanders in Edmonton, right? The Islanders won the last of their 4 against Edmonton in 83. And then in 84, Gretzky and company won their first of many, returning the favor to the Islanders. So it should be, look, last year, Edmonton, Florida, whether you care about either of those 2 teams, if you're a fan of sports, 7 games. Florida won the first 3. Edmonton tied it and was looking to, win it from 3-0 down, but Florida was able to prevail. And if you like really good, play in it, whatever sport you're watching, Connor McDavid is worth watching for Edmonton.
Even that and Leon Draisaitl,
the 2 of them,
line mate, they're incredible.
So, or puts the puck in the back of the net, as they say. All right, let's go to today's Daily Gambit, shall we?
Do you like money?
I think about money a lot.
Do you like money without doing anything?
Winning.
Do you want to make money while watching sports?
I think Washington is immortal luck.
Washington! Woohoo! If you answered yes, this is your segment. Just don't blame us when you lose.
Nothing is ever your fault.
It's your game. Take it.
Gwynn and Chris go through the top bets of the day in The Daily Gambit on 97.3 The Fan.
Our Daily Gambit, where we talk about, that part of the sports world. But we keep it in perspective. Don't let it get out of perspective in your world. Last night, both Tony and I were 6-2. We did well. Frank, I didn't get an official record for you, but I know that you got the Indiana bet right because you picked wrong. Right. You took Indiana plus the 4.5 points against the Knicks.
And then you guys excluded me from the game.
We excluded you for a while, yes, after that. But, the Knicks, look, we bet under. The game went under. Towns or Siakam. Towns outscored Siakam. Jalen Brunson did go over 30.5 points. Tyrese Halliburton was basically a no-show.
He only had 8 points last night.
8 points, 6 assists. They're going to need a lot more of that from him in Game 6. Mackenzie Gore last night, again, 8 or 7 innings, no runs, 8 strikeouts, no walks, but didn't get the win. The game went into extra innings. So Gore continues with a 2-5 record, but pitching lights out and leading Major League Baseball now with 101 strikeouts.
He's really turned a corner in his career. He's found his little niche in Washington, and he is exploiting it every chance he has.
There's no way we could come up with every angle possible right now, but
it's been fantastic.
Getting Juan Soto and them getting Gore and Wood, and now Bobby Barrels is up too. Yeah, the Nationals are, getting the edge on the Padres there. The only way you can try to look at it as a Padre fan is to say, well, when we traded Soto, we got Michael King, and in another roundabout way got Dylan Cease. Yep. You have to stretch a little bit now to try to make that trade look better for the Padres, but it is what it is. And Juan Soto's now your problem anyway, Frank, so you have fun with that.
I am, actually.
All right, here we are tonight. We got a couple of games to take a look at. Padres and Pirates over under 7.5 runs tonight. Not very many. With Mitch Keller and Nick Pivetta. 2 good pitchers, I will say that. Frank, I'll let you go first. Who do you like here?
I'm going to go over.
Over, says.
I have it on the sheet there. What's Mitch Keller's ERA?
3.66, pretty good.
Oh, okay. I thought it was over 6.
No, and Pivetta's, we know he's having a nice year.
I'm going to say
one of the
over.
leaders in the National League at 2.72. I'm going to also say over, though, because I think the Padre offense is due to get it into gear a little. They did, as a matter of fact, the last 2 games against the Marlins.
Yes.
So hopefully they keep that going. Up the freeway tonight. If you're wondering whether anyone around the rest of baseball will even know that the Padres are playing tonight, they won't. Because the entire baseball world and ESPN and everybody else, MLB Network, going to be watching the Yankees and the Dodgers. They're going head-to-head tonight in L.A. World Series rematch. Yankees are favored tonight, though, by 1.5 because the Yankees have Max Fried pitching. Dodgers have Tony Gonsolin pitching. I'm going to go with Max Fried. He has been all that. 7-0 with a 1.29 ERA. I'll take the Yankees tonight. Right?
If there was ever a time for us to have a meteor strike anywhere,
Dodger Stadium tonight?
Dodger Stadium, Chavez Ravine.
Can we not have any of the fans injured, though, Frank?
That's fair.
Okay.
That's
we don't want to lose everybody.
Well, as long as
I know, but just people in Yankee Dodger uniforms.
Yes.
At least, put them out of commission for a while.
Yes.
Okay.
So just some sort of apocalyptic event to happen in Chavez Ravine this evening would be very nice.
It is hard to root for either squad tonight up there. But you have to pick one here. So now that's right. You're a Mets fan, so you really hate the Yankees more than most of us.
And you know what? I think that's going to override. I hate the Yankees more than I hate the Dodgers. I'm sorry. I'm taking the Dodgers. I'm sorry.
No, you're not. You don't have to sorry. This is important. There's a lot at stake here. Pride. All right. Well, put your Mets on the board tonight. They are entertaining the Rockies. It is pretty comical. 9-47. The thing that gets me is the Mets are only favored by 1.5 runs, which is pretty much the normal line.
Who's going tonight for the Mets?
Well, David Peterson, who's pitched well.
Yeah.
And Kyle Freeland, he of the 0-7, 5.86.
That's Mets.
We'll pick the Rockies. You're taking the Mets?
Yeah, I'm taking the Mets.
So am I. I mean, I bet against the Rockies every game. And there was a big article about this, by the way, in some of the, I don't remember which publication was, but talking about how Vegas is losing its butt on the Rockies now because everyone's betting against them. It's an obvious bet. Why would you bet the Rockies ever?
And I showed this to you yesterday. The Rockies on the flight to New York. One of their PR people or their social media people took a picture outside the plane. You could see the Northern Lights, and it was a beautiful shot. One of the best comments I saw was, this team is so bad at baseball, they're turning into a travel account now. like as best scenes
they can just show
of a
scenery.
vacation. Yes. It's
I think somebody else noted that minor league teams shouldn't have flights to New York. They should be on a bus.
Yes, I thought AAA teams took a bus. That was another good one.
All right. Mets over the Rockies, both of us. Max Fried, Tony Gonsolin strikeouts are even. 4.5 for both. Who do you like here? I like Fried. Gonsolin's okay, but I might
I'll take Fried on that as well.
All right, tomorrow, here's your chance, Frank. Indiana, -4 in Game 6 against your Knicks. Are you going to pick against the Knicks again? Everybody wants to know whether you're going to try to ride with the same strategy that worked for you last night, or are you going to come around and root for your own team?
I'm taking the Pacers, baby.
The circus is in town.
Let's go. We're taking the Pacers. We're not changing a thing. A brilliant 5D chess move on my part yesterday. I'm doing it again tonight, and I'll get
Understand
killed
out there
that
Monday. Frank is a lifelong Knickerbocker fan.
Yes.
I'm not, so I'll take the Pacers just because I think they're going to win the series. All right, last one. Jalen Brunson or Tyrese Halliburton tomorrow. Points scored. Do you want Halliburton or Brunson -10? So Brunson's actually favored by 10 points over Halliburton.
Get more points than
right. So you got to subtract 10 from Brunson's total. I'm going to take Halliburton.
Yeah, that's a lot of points.
Halliburton, I don't know what happened to him last night, but I have a feeling he's going to show up big tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll take Halliburton on that.
All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, a little more on that Knicks-Pacers Game 5, Game 6 coming up. And does it really matter who wins Knicks-Pacers? Because most of the people out there think it doesn't. We'll explain after traffic. do you know who?
No, I do not.
Really? Frank Thomas. The Hall of Fame first baseman for the White Sox. I know Ken Harrelson always called him Big Frank. So you're our Big Frank. And
only I could hit a baseball 9,000
wouldn't that be nice?
feet.
Wouldn't that be nice? Frank Thomas was an amazing hitter.
You
and
think?
A great athlete for his size, power. Surefire Hall of Famer. So Big Frank is alongside here and for Scraby. If you miss Matt Scraby, and boy, don't we all, he's on the afternoons here for the next week or so, filling in for the vacationing Braden Surprenant. Tony Gwynn Jr. is down at Petco Park. He joins us again here shortly for today's countdown. Frank, the NBA Finals matchup has not even been determined yet, right? The Knicks won last night. You know that. Game 6 will be tomorrow in Indiana. Pacers will be looking to book their first trip to the finals since, I believe, 2000. They lost to the Lakers that year with Reggie Miller and company. When was the last time the Knicks were in the finals?
I think it was the year before that.
99, right?
Yeah, with against San Antonio. Yes.
So both of these teams are looking to get back to the finals for the first time in forever. Knicks haven't won a championship since 73.
Oh,
Frank, I know you weren't around for that one.
No kidding.
The Pacers' last championship, also 1973. They were in the ABA that year, the rival league to the NBA. So neither of these teams have ever won it. But according to the pundits, neither team's going to win it this year either. Stephen A. Smith, only the latest, come out and basically say that it is over and done with. The Oklahoma City Thunder are going to be NBA champions. There's nothing anybody can do about it. ESPN did an article today talking about the startling similarities between this Thunder team and the last NBA dynasty, the Golden State Warriors. Mm-hmm. Golden State won their first championship 10 years ago, 2015. They had almost the same record as the Thunder that year in the regular season, 67-15, Thunder 68-14. Warriors had a plus 10 differential in scoring. Thunder plus 13 point differential this year. Both teams ranked number 1 in defense, both top 3 in offense. Both teams were led by a 26-year-old guard who won MVP. Obviously, SGA this year. 10 years ago, that guard was Steph Curry. For the Warriors, both teams had defensive specialists who came off the bench. For the Warriors, it was Andre Iguodala, who that year in 2015 actually won Finals MVP. Could Alex Caruso do the same for the Thunder? Anyway, it's all over. As far as I've not heard anybody be so sure of an NBA champion before the finals even got underway. Probably going back to, when the Bulls would win or something like that. I don't know. There's just no chance. According to people who watch this stuff, and I will see. Oklahoma City still has to prove it to me. I know they beat the T-Wolves by 30. I get that in the final game. They also lost to the T-Wolves by 42 in Game 3. They eked out a win in Game 4, and that was really the key game of that series. Oklahoma City, for being as unbeatable as everybody says they are, also was taken to 7 games by Denver in the second round. I know they won Game 7 comfortably, but still taken to 7. It's hard for me to think that they're that completely unbeatable. But they're good. They do play great defense. They do have the ability to adjust to their opponent's style of play and, beat them at their own style of play. SGA is obviously the focal point. Jalen Williams is a great sidekick for him. That guy's underrated. They rebound. They don't turn the ball over, and they force a ton of turnovers. So they got a lot of things going for them. No, they also haven't won a championship ever before. And I don't know. I'm not ready to give it to them yet. I know you probably aren't, because the Knicks still have a chance to be their opponent.
Well, no, and also the thing is, we've seen it so often, not just in basketball, but in hockey and in baseball now as well, and even with college football, which we'll get into a little bit later. When you have that respite, when you have that time, especially if this series goes 7 games, it goes back to the
Thunder's going to be off for a while.
Yeah, it's going to be about a week and a half before the Thunder actually step on a basketball court in anger again. So game 1, possibly game 2, maybe not
a little rust.
There might not be. They might not be at full song.
It's a fair point. Look, Oklahoma City should be favored. They will be favored. They had the best record this year. They've won 4 playoff games by 30-plus points. No other team has ever done that. And they're not even to the finals yet. So they deserve their status as favorite. But I find it interesting that from Stephen A. Smith to ESPN to USA Today, I read the same story that the NBA Finals are already over. Don't even play them. I think that's too much. I think you're not giving enough to this Indiana and these New York team. They're both, I think solid opponents, and I can't hand it to the Thunder quite yet.
And another thing that we see in postseason a lot, the team that usually cruises through usually is not the team that's going to win it, because they're not battle tested. You need there's always that team that overcomes adversity. A long, drawn-out fist fight of a 7-game series, there's always that turnaround that comes, and Oklahoma City's just walked right through this postseason. They really haven't had to fight. Meanwhile, you have the Knicks and the Pacers, who have both had to fight individually to get to where they are, and now are fighting each other to see who gets the chance.
Pacers took out a Cleveland team. I think it was 5 games. They won all 3 games in Cleveland.
The Knicks were
the Knicks took out the Celtics.
A team
in
that
6 or 5.
I believe that was 5. A team that they had not beaten all season, and that was a thing around that Knicks organization this year, was they had not beaten anyone that was better than them. I think they went 0-for against Oklahoma City. They went 0-for against Boston. They went 0-for
against Cleveland.
Against Cleveland, yeah.
But then they beat Boston.
Yeah, and then they beat Boston in the playoffs.
Well, my thing is Indiana hammered Cleveland, and I thought Cleveland was every bit as good as OKC this year during the regular season. So I'm not. Again, Oklahoma City may win it. They may lift the trophy, and maybe all these people are right. But I'm not sold yet, and maybe it's I'm not sure.
No,
I don't recognize, and I certainly don't see a team that's on its way to winning 5 championships here in the next 9 years, like the Warriors did, or 4, or whatever that was. If OKC does win this year, I think it'd be just as good a chance they don't win next year.
And if he wants to say it's the closest thing that we've had to that since then, I would have to somewhat agree.
Okay.
But they gotta do something with it. They gotta win this year. They gotta get right back at it again next year, because when Golden State was dominating, you knew the 2 teams that were going to be in the finals every single year.
It was Golden State and Cleveland for at least a half decade there.
It was Golden State, Miami, I think. It was because this when LeBron was with.
No, Cleveland. Cleveland beat Golden State the one time, and Golden State
that's
beat
right.
Cleveland the other times.
Because LeBron was back in Cleveland.
Yes, right.
So you knew it was going to be Golden State was going to be in the finals every single year. I don't feel that way with Oklahoma City, at least not yet.
Not yet. Not in the West, where there's too many other good teams.
Right.
I feel. But look, I'm taking too much away from OKC. They've been great. They've backed it up. They blow teams out. They have the team that should be favored. I just don't know that I can crown them the champs yet. We'll see. And first, we got to see who wins the Knicks and the Pacers. That may be determined tomorrow. Or what shirt would Frank wear in here on Monday to prepare for a Game 7? I don't even know if I want to ask that question, Frank. Do you have one in reserve?
No, I do not.
For a Game 7?
No, I do not, especially since we're moving now. I don't know where anything is.
Anything is. I'll just buy you a Pacers jersey over the weekend. How's
Please
that?
Don't do
you
that.
can wear that on
Please
Monday.
Don't do that.
Well, if you're going to root for the Pacers, you might as well go on. Or if you're going to pick the Pacers, you might as well go all in, I say.
Because the second I go all in is the second I get burned.
Okay.
That's always the way it happens. The second it's over, the second I'm in, it's over.
I hear you. All right, we'll take a quick time out here. When we come back, more on what's happening on this Friday in sports, Padres, Pirates, and also our countdown. Basketball-oriented countdown. Think you'll like it? It's next on Gwynn and Chris. spelled Bradgley. Pronounced, though, Bradgley Rodriguez. He's coming up to the Padres. He's the newest Padres from Venezuela. He's 21 years old, right-hand flamethrower. We'll join the Padre bullpen beginning tonight against the Pittsburgh Pirates. Kyle Hart has been optioned back to the minor leagues. Still no word on who the Padres may start when the Kyle Hart spot in the rotation comes around again next Tuesday in San Francisco. But for now, Padres get themselves another bullpen arm. Rodriguez with the 4-0 record at San Antonio, 3.22 ERA in 18 games. He had 5 saves, closer there, and 31 strikeouts, 5 walks. Good ratio for Bradgley Rodriguez. We'll see if he has to make his debut tonight. David Morgan, who made his debut earlier this week, was on our program a little earlier in our Friday interview. We'll have that for you in reprise a little bit later on. If you're also just tuned in, Mike Schilt on Ben and Woods this morning, providing updates, but not a whole lot of news on Michael King and also Yu Darvish, other than to tell you that, according to Mike Schilt, both guys are improving. Couldn't tell you when they're going to be back. So we'll just wait along with you and everybody else. The Padre bullpen, by the way, Frank, which is referred to by most, can't say I disagree, but is referred to by most as the best in Major League Baseball. Did you know that after going 22 for 22 in save opportunities to start the season, the bullpen is now just 4 out of its last 10. They've blown 6 leads in the last couple of weeks. And after opening the season with a 1.57 ERA in the first 3 weeks, the last 6 weeks, the bullpen ERA is 4.28, which is hardly, not even really good, to be honest with you. Now, Suarez has been, consistently good. Jason Adam, other than Wednesday. Strada's still, been pretty reliable, but overall the bullpen has not been lights out for a while now. And I'm not saying it's a concern. I'm saying it just is. And a return to form from this bullpen is going to be important, especially right now with the starting pitching down. You get yourself a lead and you turn it over to this bullpen, going to have to hold that lead now. So, these games coming up.
I know you guys are probably getting very, very sick and tired of hearing this because I'm pretty sure all of the shows have been saying this over the last 2-3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
That's baseball. These are things that happen.
Baseball.
Good,
Frank.
These things.
This is
happen.
why we go to you for insight.
You're always going to have stretches like this throughout the year.
But a 6-week stretch is a stretch.
It hasn't been 6. It's been like 2 weeks.
I said 6 weeks. They've got a 4.28 ERA. 6 weeks, 4.28. That's a month and a half. That's a stretch, Frank. That's not just a stretch.
Offense hasn't been doing it either. Like the offense has been having its own set of issues.
You want me to, and I'll explain it thusly. The offense, which had 20 10-hit games in the first 38, so more than half the games, they had 10 or more hits. You know how many 10-hit games they have in the last 16?
3.
1. So, yeah, you put that together with the bullpen thing, and, those are, what you need to win, especially when your starting staff is hurting. In a lot of ways, 31-23 sounds pretty good because they've overcome some stuff to get to 31-23, including injuries. So let's hope that the bullpen gets it back. Offense, it starts clicking again. Line drives, doubles in the gaps, the whole thing. It hasn't really been happening.
And we all have to remember where we were at the start of the season. Before the
14-3, you mean? Oh, no. Okay, before that even.
Before the season started.
Yes, we thought.
We were expecting this team to be in third place.
88, 89 wins, maybe sneak into the playoffs if we're lucky.
Yep, expecting the third wild card spot.
Yeah, that's a fair comment.
They overperformed.
They went 14-3 and got everybody's expectations through the roof.
Yep, they overperformed, and now they're starting to fall back to where they were supposed to be. Now, of course, the injuries don't help. Fernando not really hitting right now doesn't help. The fact that Merrill has been on and off the field all season doesn't help. You still have a Pitt in left field. Catcher has been worse than you had anticipated, even though you knew it was going to be bad. Now you're getting injuries to the rotation. It does not help, but we knew that this team was not going to be a contender for the division when this season started. You were fighting for that final wild card spot.
But in actuality, they are competing at the moment.
No, at the moment, yes.
Division.
I'm just saying the expectations that we had before we saw this team play. We knew it was not going to be a division winner. We knew it was going to be a team that was going to be second, third wild card and just get to the playoffs. Maybe you can make something happen. They're starting to fall back into that now.
They are 17-20 over the last 37 games. I don't think they're that team. But they certainly have shown us that they're not the 14-3 team either.
Right. They're not as bad as they have been, but they're also not as good as they were.
All right. Having said that, let's just take 3 from the Pirates. I'd hate to ask for a sweep, but with the schedule coming up and all of the injuries, a sweep would make me feel a lot better.
Helpful.
Probably make everybody out there feel a lot better. Series starts tonight. All right. Let's get to our countdown today. NBA Finals are coming up. And we have, as you'll hear in the countdown, we have representation here from L.A., Tony Gwynn Jr., Lakers, Chicago, Chris Ella, Bulls, and now New York with Frank on the Knicks. So we incorporated all of that into today's countdown after we get some traffic.
It's now time for Gwynn and Chris to rank their top 5 of the day.
Gonna grip and rip as usual.
But this isn't just a regular top 5 list.
I love it. It sounds sadistic, but I love it.
This is the countdown. And it starts right now on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, I think we got a pretty good countdown for you this Friday. And, it has to look, the NBA Finals are just around the corner. The matchup isn't set yet, though, because the Knickerbockers, Frank's Knickerbockers, kept it alive last night. Oklahoma City's in. But I thought we'd do an NBA-themed one today, and I was just thinking of this, and we have all of the big cities represented on this show in a way. We have Tony as the big Laker fan. We have me, Chicago, and we have Frank now with New York. So I thought instead of doing the exact same category, we would do similar categories. And so Tony's going to count down his top 5 Lakers of all time, which is really tough, by the way, Tony, because you got about 1,000 candidates.
It's easier since we're saying my favorite.
Yeah, it's your favorite guys. Yeah. So that will help. I got the Bulls. I wonder who'll be number 1 there. And Frank is going to do the Knicks. So we'll start with you, Frank, and let's go. Number 5, and give me your 5th favorite and best New York Knickerbocker.
Number 5.
Who you got?
For me, I'm going to take John Starks.
Not a bad call. Not a bad call.
Big guard, like right around throughout the 90s, was there.
Early 90s.
Was there for the big years, got to the finals, didn't win naturally. But yeah, I would go John Starks with my number 5.
That's a good pick, and
I like that.
Yeah, I do too. And I know who wouldn't like that pick. My number 1 choice for the Bulls would not like that pick because Starks gave him a tough time back in the days in those playoff games. Starks was in his mug the entire way. Good player, Starks. All right, Tony, you're number 5. Lakers.
Number 5. Lakers. LeBron James is number 5 on my
Sneaking
list.
in there, huh?
He snuck in there. He did.
What do you like about that guy, Tony? I can't imagine.
Well, he won a title. That's
right.
one thing in a Laker uniform. I also have just come to appreciate the man's longevity and the level on which he's played at. And so I wasn't always sure he would get into my top 5 because I have some Lakers that I hold near and dear to me.
Yes, I know.
One of them had to come off the list because of it, but I think LeBron deserves that. He gets number 5 on my list.
He deserves a sneak in there. Number 5, LeBron James. As LeBron James himself said, it was pretty cool getting to be third-team All-NBA as a 40-year-old.
Right? That's crazy.
He said that himself in case we didn't notice that he made it. All right, on to the Chicago Bulls, number 5. And I'm going to start with Dennis Rodman here. Rodman only ranks 5th because he spent so much time as a hated Piston. But as a Bull, he helped them win 3 championships. And don't ever look how great Dennis Rodman was. His antics notwithstanding. 8 NBA rebound championships for Rodman, 9 times all defensive player, 2 times defensive player of the year. This guy was as good as anybody at 2 of the big parts of basketball, defense and rebounding. And he'll always be, overlooked because he couldn't score, but he did everything else great when he was playing. So he's number 5 for me.
All right, off to number 4.
Legit.
On to number 4, Frank's Knicks, number 4.
For me, I'm going to go with Carmelo Anthony. Big name.
Lots of NBA championships, a lot of rings.
Regave the Knicks some sort of legitimacy. Second round pick. Second round of the playoffs a couple times. Did very well. Set a couple of career records for him, at least, with the Knicks. So I'm going to give it to Carmelo Anthony.
Gave them some legitimacy. And made the Hall of Fame. He's a Hall of Famer now. So he's got that going.
Oh, that's right. I think he said he's going to have Michael and AI introduce him. Is what he would like to have, he said.
Not bad. All right. I think you should go with Jim Boeheim, but that's where he won his championship at Syracuse. All right. What do you got, Tony? Number 4, Laker.
Number 4 on my Laker list is Nick the Quick Van Exel.
Aha.
At number 4.
Cincinnati Bearcat.
Remember when Magic retired, there was like a lull. He was the first bright spot that indicated the Lakers were going to be headed back towards, championship level. Although he was never on one of their championship teams, he was the start. Him and Eddie Jones came in and they started to make the Lakers, back relevant again after Magic retired. So Nick Van Exel, number 4.
I was hoping that this list would create some names that we hadn't thought about in a while, and I think Nick Van Exel qualifies there. Sure. My number 4 Chicago Bull is going to be John Paxson. Paxson was Steve Kerr in the 3 years before Steve Kerr started shooting open jumpers, thanks to Michael Jordan.
Yep.
And the thing with John Paxson that I'll never forget is that he was the basic final nail in the coffin for 2 of their first 3 championships. Tony probably didn't want to think about it, but the final win over the Lakers, it was Paxson that heated up in the 4th quarter to win that final game. And then a couple of years later, he hit the actual championship winning shot to beat Phoenix and Charles Barkley. So John Paxson, who played alongside Jordan, goes down in my memory banks as a great Chicago Bull. Although he was a terrible executive because he went on to be general manager after that, and they never won anything. So,
as they say, you can't have everything.
He and Jordan had that in common, actually. Neither of them were very good as executives.
Very true. My number 3, New York Knicks, I'm going to go with Patrick Ewing. Okay. Big guy out of Georgetown, first overall pick, was the face of the franchise when they came back.
I would say.
Late 80s, early 90s, through the mid 90s. I'm going with Patrick Ewing as my number 3.
Patrick Ewing, another guy who has only an NCAA championship.
Yeah,
like Carmelo.
There's a lot of that with the Knicks.
I know. Who you got number 3, Tony?
Diesel. Shaq Diesel fits in at number 3. Dude was the most dominant. It was, you had to be there to see it. I mean, to understand it. dude was he moved like somebody his size should move, and he's probably the strongest, most explosive human being at that size, and he used to let everybody know about it too.
Do you think when people think of Shaquille O'Neal, they'll always picture him in a Laker uniform, or are there still some holdovers to the Orlando Magic?
No, I think most people only remember him in a Laker uniform.
Yeah,
I think you got to be I think you got to be a real basketball fan to remember Shaq was in Orlando.
How about the worst uniform he was ever in? Wasn't he a Celtic at the very end, Tony, for 5 minutes?
He was a Celtic. He hit the whole rainbow.
Yes, he went to like 12 teams right after his career.
The Cavs, the Celtics, the Suns.
Yeah, Shaq. All right. Number 3 for me is Bob Butterbean Love. You got to go back, obviously, to the 70s for this, but the original good Chicago Bull teams were in the 70s. They lost to the Lakers every year in the playoffs for like 4 or 5 years in a row back then. But Bob Love was a 2-time All-NBA forward, 3-time All-Defense, averaged over 20 points 6 straight years, and he was my first favorite player as a young kid growing up on the Bulls. Silky smooth jumper from the baseline, passed away, I believe, last year, sadly. Never quite got to Hall of Fame status, but Bob Love was one of the great first Chicago Bulls. He's number 3 for me. All right, Frank, on to number 2.
I have
Number 2.
a button I have to press there somewhere. For me, my number 2 for the Knicks, Willis Reed.
Good for you.
Two-time champion, NBA Hall of Famer, All-Star his first 7 years. Willis Reed, the captain.
He won 2 MVP
Knicks.
awards even, and
passed away in 2023, I believe, as well.
The most famous. Here's the interesting thing that the historians don't remember. Willis Reed's most famous moment was Game 7 of the Finals in 1970 when he had been hurt and missed all of Game 6, and he wasn't supposed to play in Game 7. We've probably all seen the clip. He comes running out, at the last second to play in the game. He hits the first shot, a jump shot, to make it 2-0 Knicks. He doesn't score again, and they win the game. And to this day, he gets all the credit for that NBA championship. It's really amazing how history plays things out. Tony, who you got, number 2?
Number 2 on my list is pretty simple. Irving Magic.
Yes, Johnson. Thank you, Tony.
Number 2, I mean, it took a long time for there to be somebody that I actually enjoyed more than I enjoyed Magic. And I didn't even get all of Magic. Like, I didn't get him.
Right.
I wasn't coherent in 83 and 4 or 5. But you get to 88, 89, even 87 probably. Mm-hmm. You can, that's some good Magic Johnson time right there. So he goes number 2 on my list.
Yeah. Magic Johnson's first ever NBA game was played at the San Diego Sports Arena against the then San Diego Clippers. Kareem hit a hook to win the game. Magic jumped into his arms, and Kareem was like, "Get off of me. It's only the first game of the season." Magic Johnson. Yeah. Number 2 for me, Scottie Pippen. I don't have to give a whole lot of reasons why. He's easily the second best Bull ever. And I think that you might agree, Tony, or not, but I think if you had an all-time greatest defensive team, 5 guys in the history of the league, I think he could be on it. That's how good he was on defense. So, all right, Frank.
Number 1.
All right, for me, my number 1 is going to be Walt Clyde Frazier.
Good for you, Frank. Going back again to the 70s.
The face of those NBA championship teams, still with the team as a broadcaster on a nightly basis. So I'm giving it to Clyde.
And I think the shirt you're wearing today, Frank, is something he might try out.
Yes.
Tony, Walt's style is crazy.
Walt's pretty crazy style. And the game we talked about where Willis Reed ran on the floor and hit the first jumper, Frazier was the actual hero. He scored 38 against Jerry West to win that game. Walt Frazier was a pretty good player. I know who's number 1. Right, we missed the tail end of this, but it was pretty simple. Tony went with Kobe Bryant for the Lakers because he loves Kobe Bryant. Who was I going to go with for the Bulls?
Well,
Orlando Woolridge. I mean, I think you know who we picked there.
Gotta go.
All right, we're back with a Chris vs. the Fans.
Padres.
There's a Roadrunner. Meet me. He doesn't like me. I guess I wouldn't like me either if I was chasing me. As you can see, I'm all Aztec out here at the Aztec baseball tournament. It's the SDSU baseball alumni tournament. Right now, we are 1 under in the scramble, and Chris is playing well, Tony's playing well, but our ringer, Jack Townsend, is playing really well, so. So Chris says that he can't play golf, but this is the second birdie putt he's made for us. This time it was like 20 feet.
Thank you very much, Greg. But once again, you're hitting some very nice shots as well. I'm not usually complimentary to you, but I can't help but be complimentary. Your shot making today.
With my what?
Your shot making. You've hit some.
We are league 10 now, and it's getting really windy. It's actually kind of cold. I'm not gonna lie, I know we're in San Diego, but we're 3 under as a group. We just got off the birdie, and I just hit my defense. There's a squirrel. He wants to attack me. Squirrely! We just got our second birdie of the day thanks to this guy.
Yeah, a 4-footer after.
It was a 5-footer.
After our pro drove it 300 to the front of the green and then chipped it within 5 feet.
Uh-oh.
Gravy, don't feed the animals.
Don't feed the animals. I do feed animals, but Chris made a birdie putt. Leaving the golf course. And we ended up shooting 63 once everything was accounted for, since it was a scramble, and we had an SDFC golf player, Jack Townsend. He was with us, and he did a lot for us. I think we shot 63 because of him, but we all had a good time. There's a Roadrunner. Meet me. He doesn't like me. I guess I wouldn't like me either if I was chasing me. As you can see, I'm all Aztec out here at the Aztec baseball tournament. It's the SDSU baseball alumni tournament. Right now, we are 1 under in the scramble, and Chris is playing well, Tony's playing well, but our ringer, Jack Townsend, is playing really well, so. So Chris says that he can't play golf, but this is the second birdie putt he's made for us. This time it was like 20 feet.
Thank you very much, Greg. But once again, you're hitting some very nice shots as well. I'm not usually complimentary to you, but I can't help but be complimentary. Your shot making today.
With my what?
Your shot making. You've hit some.
We are league 10 now, and it's getting really windy. It's actually kind of cold. I'm not gonna lie, I know we're in San Diego, but we're 3 under as a group. We just got off the birdie, and I just hit my defense. There's a squirrel. He wants to attack me. Squirrely! We just got our second birdie of the day thanks to this guy.
Yeah, a 4-footer after.
It was a 5-footer.
After our pro drove it 300 to the front of the green and then chipped it within 5 feet.
Uh-oh.
Gravy, don't feed the animals.
Don't feed the animals. I do feed animals, but Chris made a birdie putt. Leaving the golf course, and we ended up shooting 63 once everything was accounted for, since it was a scramble, and we had an SDFC golf player, Jack Townsend. He was with us, and he did a lot for us. I think we shot 63 because of him, But we all had a good time. There's Roadrunner. Meet me. He doesn't like me. I guess I wouldn't like me either if I was chasing me. As you can see, I'm all Aztec out here at the Aztec baseball tournament. It's the SDSU baseball alumni tournament. Right now, we are 1 under in the scramble.
Hey, welcome back. We head on into hour number 3 of Gwynn and Chris. Finally a Friday. Happy you're with us. Hope you enjoyed our countdown there. Some good old names from the days gone by of the for the Lakers, the Bulls. Frank, impressed with your Nick knowledge. Being as you weren't even around, I don't think, to see Walt Clyde Frazier play.
Or Willis Reed.
You could have got the famous Senator Bill Bradley in there out of Princeton, who became a United States Senator, very, pretty famous one as well.
Try not
on those Nick teams.
Try not to show off.
I thought John Starks was an inspired choice as well. I was impressed with John Starks. If I would have had to throw one of the Knicks in, just off the top of my head, guy that I loved, probably a little before your time, but he could fill it up, Frank. Bernard King. Does that name ring a bell at all?
Yeah.
I think it was a 40-point game waiting to happen. I don't know that the Knicks won a lot when he played there, but he could score. Some guys just can score.
That's why I've always loved about the Knicks. They garner so much attention.
And don't do anything.
Exactly.
Yeah. Don't amount to a hill of beans. Well, if they win the NBA title this year, I bet you Jalen Brunson and or Cat will move into your top 5.
You'll have to shut down every street within a 4-mile radius.
The Knicks fans
of the Garden.
would go out of their minds if they won it all. But don't worry, they're not going to. Because the NBA has already told us, or all the NBA pundits have told us, that Oklahoma City's got the championship clinched. Padres and Pirates coming up tonight. And game 1 of a 3-game series. There will be big-time fireworks after the game. Hopefully, Padres will provide some fireworks during the game. One move was made today by the Friars. Right-handed reliever, 21-year-old Bradley Rodriguez. Bradgley, pronounced Bradley, according to Baseball Reference anyway. 21-year-old closer at Double-A. Had 5 saves there and 11 appearances, so I don't know if he was the lone closer, but he did close some ball games there. 31 strikeouts, 5 walks. He replaces on the roster, at least for now, Kyle Hart. Padres still awaiting the return of both Michael King and Yu Darvish, and both pretty much up for grabs in terms of how much time it's going to be. Mike Schilt providing an update today, but honestly, there wasn't a whole lot that he could update us on. So
we also have Mike Schilt from his pregame scrum about an hour ago that we can play here. When I
a little bit more Mike Schilt news. All right, we'll get to that shortly. Do you want to try to do this, Frank? We promote, because at 4:00 every day we do Chris versus the fans. The problem, Scraby does the questions, and he's not here. So the question, Frank, to you.
He's been slightly preoccupied.
Yes, he's got other things. Do you want to forge ahead? I am very good at coming up with questions. The problem is, part of the game is me knowing the answer or not. And so if I come up with the questions, I would obviously know all the answers. That would make it too fun for the contestants out there.
Let's just put it this way. If the first caller doesn't win, we're going to a
tiebreaker.
We're in a little bit of trouble.
Okay, so let's do it. Okay, I'll tell you what. We got 6 people online there. I'm going to go with because La Mesa is such a nice place.
Oh,
yes,
wow.
The famous Shotgun Tom came up with that, not me. Shotgun Tom, very famous voice in Southern California for radio fans. Evan will be our contestant.
Okay.
Evan, number 4 there. And Evan, you're the guy today. You're going to get the shot. Otherwise, we'll go to a tiebreaker. How are you, sir? Oh, there he is.
Doing great.
We're good. Okay. Good. You ready? You got question 1.
Hopefully
you get on through.
You're jumping the gun a little bit here because there's something we got to do first.
Oh, we got to give the rules. All Oh, that too.
If you had one shot, one opportunity to take down the human almanac himself,
howdy do.
Now is your time.
Listen to me, this guy is dangerous.
Now is your opportunity to win a prize.
Well, I hope you know what you're in for.
Chris versus the Fans starts now on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, now we can go.
Yes.
After you tell everybody that if you're a first-time player,
you have to make it through 3 questions. Each question will get more difficult. If you get the question right, you move on. If you get the question wrong and Chris gets the question right, you are eliminated. But that's not how we're going to do it today.
Yeah, that's right.
If Chris gets the question wrong, then you move on to the next question or you win. Please, for the love of God, Evan, be a first time. Okay.
He's not the first time player.
The first question.
Yeah. But Evan, you can qualify for a chance to win the grand prize, a trip to see Bruno Mars in Las Vegas. You'll get 2 tickets to the show.
Let's do it.
So here we go.
All right.
Evan's ready.
First question. What number does Jason Hayward wear?
Ooh, not exactly a gimme.
I think he wears 22.
22. Evan's
All
on it.
right,
That's a good job, Evan. Some people are good number guys. Some people don't pay attention to numbers. Evan was on it.
So there's your first. There's your first.
He's got one in the bank.
Scuff first question. Here we go. Number 2. Who is the only football coach to win a Super Bowl and the Rose Bowl?
Ooh.
Please get this right.
I think that's got to be Pete Carroll.
Pete Carroll. Wow.
He did do it, but he was not the first. Chris?
Oh, did you say who the first was?
Yes. Who
You said only.
Oh, the only. Sorry.
I think you said only, but I don't think.
Again,
I think
Scraby.
Evan's right. Yeah, Scraby's.
Yeah, that's
Look,
Scraby.
We run into this problem all the time. Pete Carroll definitely
Scraby
coached.
strikes again. He's not even here.
He's not even here. Evan, you're 100% right. I was going to say Dick Vermeil because I think he was the first to do it.
Answer.
But Evan is 100% right because I know for a fact Pete Carroll won the. Well, what did he win the Rose Bowl though? Wait a minute. They lost the famous Texas game in the Rose Bowl.
Now we got to check.
We got to check to see if Pete Carroll actually won a Rose Bowl. Evan, you might be in danger here. I thought Pete Carroll for sure won a Rose Bowl because USC won all those games. But back in those days, it was the BCS, and they didn't always go to the Rose Bowl.
Pete Carroll won the Rose Bowl as head coach in 2004, 6, 8, and 9.
Well, never mind then. And we know he won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, so we know he won a Super Bowl.
Right. So Evan, you're safe.
Evan got scrabied.
Yeah, but not really because we caught it, and he's still alive.
We're going to go to number 3 now.
Scraby, he's not even here, and he's causing havoc on the show.
Presence always felt, and his presence will be felt again a little bit later. Here we go, number 3.
Okay. Good job, Evan. I'm happy with your performance out there.
Sticking with football, which 2 East Coast teams played the first ever college football game?
Army, Navy.
Army, Navy. They are on the East Coast. He's right about that.
That one is genuinely incorrect.
Yes.
Chris?
Well, I have a guess. The problem here is that who knows really what the first football game was?
That and another big problem is if you do get this right,
then we got to go to a tiebreaker.
We've got nothing. Yeah, we've got nothing here.
I'm going to guess it was Princeton against Rutgers, a battle in New Jersey. I nailed it.
That is right.
Evan, you're a great contestant. We appreciate you, but I happen to know that one. So there you go. Can I tell you? All right, we'll just do a tiebreaker.
Yes.
It's very simple.
So
we can do tiebreaker. You know how to do that, right, Frank?
Yes.
Pretty much. We just pick it. I'm going to pick a player.
Yes, well, no, I do have an tiebreaker here. I'm assuming that the number that is in parentheses is my over-under number.
Right.
And then you guys got to pick whether or not it was.
They got to say that's the actual number.
That is the number.
Then I give a guess, and then they decide whether it's over or under.
Got it. All right. So
who is our athlete?
Anyone see your fancy Anyone you want to?
Oh,
I'll let you pick here today.
You're just letting me pick somebody. That means the people I don't pick are going to be mad at me, Frank. Do you see how that works?
So that way they're not mad at me.
I know. Let's go to my guy there, Robert.
All right.
I could have gone to La Mesa again, but I didn't.
Robert in Vista.
How are you, buddy? Always good to talk to you.
Mr. Orlo?
I'm good, sir. Good. Thank you.
All right. So you have
We're into the tiebreaker today because Scraby left us without questions. And it's probably a good thing because if he left us with questions, they would have all been incorrect anyway, apparently.
All right. So
who's our athlete, Frank?
The athlete is Tony Gwynn.
Oh, we're going with Tony Gwynn Sr.
Yes.
Okay.
How many runs did Tony Gwynn score in his career?
I got to give you a number.
You have to give me a number.
All right. Well, I know that he had 3,000. Well, I don't know.
Not hits.
I know, but I'm trying to remember. I think he had 3,141 hits. I'm trying to think that, he probably scored about half the time, but probably a little less. That's why I'm trying to figure this out here. So I'm going to say half would be 17. No, that'd be 1,500. I'm going to say a little less, 1,400 runs, 1,400 runs for Tony Gwynn Jr. in his career. Or Tony Gwynn in his career.
Robert, higher or lower?
The actual
than 1,400.
Answer. 1,400. Actual answer, higher or lower?
Lower.
Lower. Is he right? He is. Robert, you got it.
Give him
a big round of applause.
You were really close. I got to find the applause.
Oh, no. Here, hang on. Never mind. Nice job, Robert. There you go. All right, it was lower.
What
was the actual
lower.
Answer?
The actual, you were really close.
Really?
Actually, it was 1383.
Was
the number.
Close.
So you were very, very close.
1383. Okay, Robert, stay on the line. You're qualified for the trip to Las Vegas. Frank will grab you here in a second. We're going to take a little break while you do that, Frank. And when we come back, an update to the soccer issue last weekend when the Galaxy, was it the Galaxy?
Yes,
yeah, the Galaxy, because there's two teams in LA. The Galaxy played SDFC, and we had a big problem. And the SDFC has responded in kind today, and I think they've done the right thing. We'll tell you what they did when we come back. A little traffic in this break as Gwynn and Chris steps aside momentarily on 97.3 The Fan. overall. Tony will be back, by the way, here for our Big Five, which is at the bottom of the hour. But I'm really happy that Frank's doing a good job. He's sitting in for Scraby today, kind of not missing Scraby, because he irks me and annoys me sometimes. He's probably not missing me, right? He's on the afternoon show. He doesn't have me to get on his case. But Frank's doing a good job until now, because I forgot about this. Frank, along with being a Knicks fan, is like an over-the-top Mets fan. And you're from New York, so I get it. You went to Hofstra.
Oh, wanted to.
Oh, you wanted to go to worked at Hofstra.
No.
I thought your uncle.
No,
somebody. You lived close to Hofstra.
I lived close to,
Thank
yes.
you.
Lived in the area of.
I knew it was something. Anyway, Frank's a Mets fan, so he's making me watch the Rockies right now against the Mets. And on
you struck out Mark Vientos just now.
The first pitch of the game, Lindor hits a home run, and the Rockies are already losing. I just think it's fun. The Rockies are 9-47 right now. No pressure on the Mets this weekend, Frank, but this is the 19th series of the year for the Rockies.
Lost every one of them.
They're 0-18 so far. They haven't won a single series.
I think they're 0-21 going back to last year.
Oh, I don't know about last year. 21. Yeah, so they've lost 18 for 18 this year. Last year's White Sox, who have the worst record like ever, at this point in the season, the White Sox had 6 more wins than the Rockies do now. The White Sox also had won 4 series by this time last year. The 1988 Orioles, who were awful, lost their first 21 games. But by this point in the season, they had won 2 series. Your famous 1962 Mets had 16 wins at this point in the season compared to the Rockies' 9.
And I think they lost the first 9, I think it was.
I think it was too. I don't know how many series the Mets won. You'll never believe this, Frank, because I was looking it up in 1962. They actually had 1-game series from time to time that year.
Oh, really?
Really weird. Like they would play 3 against the Cubs, 1 against the Cardinals, and then 3 against the Phillies. I didn't understand that, but if you look it up, you'll see the same thing. Anyway, the point is the Rockies compare
historically
to all of these teams. They are on pace for 135 losses, which would be 1 more than the 1899 Cleveland Spiders had when they lost 134. That's 3 centuries ago, Frank. You have to go back to find baseball as bad as the Rockies. And couple more things. They have the worst offense in baseball. They're hitting .218 with 177 runs, last in both those categories. They've allowed 352 runs, the most. So they're last in that category. And they've made so many errors that they have allowed 20 more unearned runs than any team in baseball. So they're the worst fielding team also, just to make sure that if the hitting and pitching are on, then the fielding can cost them. And and they fired Bud Black. Their record since then, 2-14. So that didn't work.
With one of those wins being against the Yankees.
Which made you happy.
Oh,
but you're
more happy than it should have.
How miserable are you going to be if your Mets lose 1 to these guys this weekend?
I'm not going to be broken.
Yeah, because you will. You're going to be broken.
It's again, it's baseball.
It can happen.
In a 162 game season, you are going to accidentally win a couple of games.
And so far, apparently the Rockies have accidentally won 9. One of those was over the Padres, but not only have they been they lost 18 for 18 in series, Frank, they've been swept 9 times.
Yeah, it's not great, is it?
Exactly half.
That's not good.
I kind of get a kick out of going over the disaster that is the Rockies,
because it comes to a point where all you can do is just laugh. there comes to
the only people not laughing has got to be the players themselves. I really do feel for them going through it. That can't be fun.
No, absolutely not. And we had at the beginning of the month, we had on Braden Surprenant's show,
Sean Bouchard.
We had Sean
who's
Bouchard
now been
on.
sent down, and he's probably happy that he's maybe winning a game now and again. But yeah,
we talked about it with him also. He said
he
it
spoke
is
well of it. He did a good job talking about it.
It is hard. It is hard to do, but even the worst day in the majors is better than the best day.
He had
in
a
the
really
minors.
good attitude. That's a very good point. He had a great attitude, but even that has to wear on you after a while.
Absolutely, 100%.
To just get beat day after day after day. All right, kudos to SDFC. We heard about the unfortunate brawl that happened during after. Was it after the game or during?
It was after
game?
the game
Yeah,
happened, yes.
After SDFC beat the LA Galaxy. There was a big battle, and we talked about this yesterday. Unfortunately, I feel like SDFC is getting connected to bad behavior in the stands. Remember early in the year we had the chanting, and now you've got this story, and people keep talking about it. And I don't think it's fair. Fan behavior is terrible in all sports everywhere. I went to an SDFC game. I know a lot of people have gone. It's a great atmosphere. And, a few bad apples shouldn't spoil for all of you. So keep supporting and going out. This team's been really good. They're in second place. They're having an incredible expansion, first season. And, I think it's too bad that a lot of these, incidents have cast a little bit of a bad light on things. But today SDFC did the right thing. They revoked. 100%. They revoked. What was it, Frank? 33 people.
33,
yeah, who can no longer attend a game.
Yes, and good.
Yeah, exactly. Good for them. That's exactly what they should do. There's no second chances in my mind for behavior like that. Right? Yeah, I just don't think there should be. So, yeah, good for SDFC. They've done the right things. After the chanting happened, they did the right things. They came out, they addressed it, they faced it, they didn't run from it. They spoke about it before the next game or, match. Sorry, I don't want to get you soccer fans mad at me. I don't use the right terminology. But, yeah, they've done it right.
And that was a great thing that Varis has done, because I was there on Saturday. I'll be there again tomorrow night as well. Varis, right off the jump from the post on the
Mikey Varis,
post-game
he's been
presser,
good. He has been really good.
Right off the jump, immediately denounced what had happened. He said, "We heard something happened. That's not us. It's not who we want to be."
Yeah,
and this, that, and the other.
He's done a good job. I mean, on the field, off the field. The organization has presented a fun product to watch.
Yes.
An exciting, every time we have one of those broadcasters on from MLS, all they say is the same thing they say. This is a great team to watch. They do the most exciting style of soccer you can. So, yeah, good on them. 33 fans. I have no excuses for you.
No.
You're out, and you should be out.
Yes.
For that kind of crap.
And I want to expand a little bit on what you said yesterday, saying that this is, it's a soccer issue.
No, I didn't say it was. I think people.
No, right.
Okay.
Yes. I
just want to be clear.
What I meant. Yes.
Right. I didn't say it was.
It's not a soccer issue. It's not a San Diego soccer issue. It's not a Mexico soccer issue. It's a San Diego LA issue. Is what
some
it
of
is.
that is. You might be right. Yeah.
Because we don't see this with when any other team comes in. You might see it sometimes with when the Giants come
create
in,
a little havoc, yes,
or when Arizona comes in, but you only really ever see.
I know, but I don't think you're going to see
when an LA team.
I don't think you're going to see a line brawl at the Dodger Padre game.
There are plenty of fights in the concourses, though.
No, you're right,
and it's every single series.
It's too bad.
So it's I wouldn't say it's a San Diego thing. It's definitely not a soccer thing. It's not a Mexico soccer thing. I don't even know.
I think LA.
It's a San Diego LA
simple.
thing.
I think it's just bad fan behavior.
No, I agree.
And I'm tired of it in all aspects. We're seeing it way too much in all kinds of different areas. So come on, people.
But there's something about when LA comes down here that brings out the worst in both sides.
Yeah, we got to go to break, but let me just throw one more thing at you. if you're going to the game tonight and you're sitting out in left field or anywhere close, don't even start with Tommy Pham. Right? Let's stay away from this stuff. Not enough said on that. He's in the lineup tonight. That's why I'm saying so. Gwynn and Chris returns with the Big Five. We'll check. We just take a break first. stuff to talk about, and we'll probably have a lot to say about it. We'll get some traffic in there at some point, Frank. But let's play ball.
Yes, I'm sure we will. Just give me 1 second.
All right, you careful? You okay?
All right,
good?
yeah,
You
we're just trying to get everything we're just trying to get everything all in order, organized, ready to go, and I believe we are ready to go.
It's that time of the show when we check on the latest in sports. Only the most important topics and questions are brought to light.
Stop what you're doing and listen.
These news stories will astound and amaze you. The one, the only.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
The Big Five starts now on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, Frank, take it away.
Yeah, fun start today. We will start off with number 5. There that goes.
All right. Always a good place to start, Frank.
Yeah, well,
number 5.
You know. A woman has accused New Orleans Pelicans forward Zion Williamson of rape in addition to, quote, sexual, physical, emotional, and financial abuse over the span of a multi-year relationship, according to a lawsuit submitted to the Los Angeles Superior Court Thursday. The woman, who is identified as Jane Doe, accuses Williamson of, quote, continuing a pattern of abusive, controlling, and threatening behavior over the course of a relationship that started during Williamson's freshman year at Duke and lasted from 2018 to 2023. Attorneys noted that Williamson and the woman had, quote, a consensual and casual relationship that ended a year ago, and that, quote, at no point during or immediately after that relationship did the plaintiff raise any concerns. They added that Williamson has reported the woman's attempts as, quote, extortion to law enforcement, that the two-time All-Star plans to file a counterclaim. Tony, not the greatest of news to be coming out for Zion Williamson.
No. Is there a question there, or we just want my commentary?
How bad is the news for Zion Williamson?
I don't know. I am going to hold the position of wait and see.
Yeah.
Until there's more information out, and see how this thing goes. I mean, the initial kind of news is never good for the person being accused, whether it turns out to be true or not. And so, I think I'll wait in terms of forming an opinion on it, but certainly right now that news is not good for Zion Williamson.
Chris?
Yeah, these things are always, like Tony said, even if every claim that she has made turns out to be completely, untrue, and they prove that it was fabricated, and they prove that it was an attempt to extort some money from a really rich athlete, there's going to be a lot of people who don't hear that part.
Yeah.
They're only going to remember, oh, didn't Zion Williamson get, busted for rape and all of these things?
Right.
So
Right.
That's the really unfortunate thing of, being in the public eye. Again, now, if any of this stuff is true, then by all means, I hope that nobody is lenient on Zion Williamson. This kind of behavior should not be tolerated in any way. But you can't possibly form an opinion yet, and without getting, more information. Yeah. So this is, I don't know what the percentage is on this. I've never really kept track. But when people make these claims, like it seems like we never really do find out the answer, do we? You know what I mean? Because one side says one says the other, then they usually settle somewhere in the middle, and we really don't know. So, but I feel bad for Zion at the moment if it's, fabricated as he says.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with that as well.
Number 4.
All right, sticking with the athletes in trouble. Soon after, well, no, not this is a different kind of trouble.
We can find these all every day, every week. The athletes in trouble.
This is a different kind of trouble. Soon after Lance McCullers Jr.'s family received online death threats following a tough start by the Astros pitcher, his 5-year-old daughter, Ava, overheard wife Kara talking on the phone about it. What followed was a painful conversation between McCullers and his little girl. McCullers said, quote, She asked me when I came home, Daddy, like, what is threats? Who wants to hurt us? Who wants to hurt me? McCullers said to the Associated Press on Wednesday. So those conversations are tough to deal with. McCullers is one of 2 MLB pitchers whose families have received online death threats this month as internet abuse of players and their families is on the rise. Boston Red Sox reliever Liam Hendriks took to social media soon after the incident with McCullers to call out people who were threatening Hendriks' wife on social media. Chris, I don't know what else. What can Major League Baseball do?
Yeah.
Or even like Twitter or these social media companies do to try to help curb this
I don't know.
Unsettlingly increasing.
Yeah, this
activity.
is the really bad part of social media. And I mean, it's the lowest of the low in terms of, fan behavior, because you're making these threats and you're completely hiding behind it. Yeah. We don't even know who you are or where you're coming from, or, if you live next door to Lance McCullers, or if you live, in another country. So you don't know exactly how scary it is. This kind of stuff is awful. We talked about this when this came out, and I think the thing we both agreed is that the only thing Lance McCullers can do is not wait for Major League Baseball. He's got to get some security for his own peace of mind, and I believe he's done that.
I think he has.
Yes.
So, that's number one. And number two, I asked Scraby about this because I'm not as Twitter, friendly as everybody else out there. But if there's a way to trace at all where some of this comes, you say, what can Twitter do? Maybe there's some way that they can, trace to where these come from. And then I want these people caught and, put behind bars quickly to deter anybody else from doing this kind of thing. This is a very scary thing. And Lance McCullers, by pointing out the story with his daughter, there isn't a father out there that doesn't feel a gulp in their throat hearing that.
There is no policing Twitter at all. All the whatever, barricades had been put up, they have all been removed. So it is a, free to do and say what you want. I think this is, yes, a big social media thing, but this uptick has to do with gambling. And people not being, and people just having no self-awareness. I don't even know what the right word is. I mean, what would possess you to threaten a player that didn't necessarily pitch bad, but just didn't get done what you wanted them to get done.
Right.
And so now you should threaten their life because of it. That sounds bizarre. That doesn't sound bizarre to anybody. That's crazy.
Yeah, it is.
So,
it's awful behavior, and it is a little off.
But I think it has a lot to do with. I think it has a lot to do with gambling too.
Yeah, it's another one of the unintended consequences of everybody falling in love with gambling.
Yeah,
and
sure.
We go over that often on this show, how dangerous it is before we do the gambit segment, and then people go, you guys are talking out of both sides of your mouth. But I think when we do the gambit segment, I think we try to keep it in perspective. These people obviously are not doing that.
Have no perspective. Yeah, for sure.
We also have no money on the gambit segment.
That's right.
That's also true.
Yeah, exactly.
That's also true.
Oh, you didn't know last night, Frank? You lost $400 to Tony and I.
Yeah, that's right. You know what? Next time I see you, you can pay up.
That's right.
Huh? Big 12 Commissioner Brett Yormark reiterated his support for the 5+11 college football playoff model, saying Friday that even though the Big 10 and SEC are leading the discussion, those conferences have a, quote, great responsibility that goes with it. Over the past several days, momentum has grown for an expanded 16-team playoff that would feature the top 5 conference champions as automatic qualifiers and 11 at-large teams, a model Yormark presented when the Power 4 commissioners met recently in Charlotte, North Carolina. Another model that has been presented includes 4 automatic qualifiers for the Big 10 and the SEC. Wow. The ACC and Big 12 get 2, and 1 for the top group of 5 team.
Yeah.
Both the Big 12 and the ACC are against this model.
Can't imagine why.
Yeah, I know, right? Tony, what say you on this ridiculous proposal for the college football playoff?
I mean, here's what I say. I won't be surprised if that last model gains momentum.
I know.
When it's all said and done. I mean, the fact in which, I mean, the SEC talks like that, there ain't nothing anybody can do about it, right? They can have an answer like that, and no one really bat an eye. And I have no doubt that as we speak now, or whenever they meet again, that last proposal will catch fire. To have 4 SEC, 4 Big 10, was 2 ACC and 2
Big
12, 4, 8, 10, 12. Yeah, you'd be lucky there's anything left over for.
Man, I could 100% see that.
Yeah.
So, that's what I say is that this is move. And by the way, this all starts in 2026, if I'm not mistaken. So, this all is going to move really fast. It feels like at this point because we've gone from like no conversation to. We're definitely adding teams to now all of a sudden we're talking 16 in 2026. They've moved on beyond that. And so,
it's amazing how they all love the playoff now that we've finally come upon it. We were like, for 30 years, we're like, how about a playoff? Oh, no, we can't make any money. What? So.
Yeah, they figured out a way to make money.
Figured it out. Tony's right. The SEC, I mean, we mentioned it a little bit yesterday. The SEC is already talking about leaving the NCAA football altogether to go do its own thing. So I would, if I was the NCAA, I'd let them leave and just let them see how they do on their own. And maybe they would do well. I don't know without the rest of college football, but it would be interesting to see Alabama actually have to play 11 good opponents a year because they wouldn't be able to schedule Mercer anymore because they wouldn't be in the same conference or same league. But what's going to happen, I believe, is the NCAA will give in to what the SEC wants in order to keep the SEC happy. So I think Tony's right. I think if you get out of it with 4-4 and 2-2, that's minimum. I mean, the SEC's got to get 4 automatic with a chance to get more out of 16.
Yeah.
I mean, if anything, why can't you just go 3-3-3-3? Like
because the SEC has to feel like they're better than everybody or they're not going to agree.
I'm a Big Ten fan. I'm a Penn State guy, and even I'm saying this is ridiculous.
It's nice of you to think that, Frank, but
guarantees Penn State's in every single year. Like, I don't know, and even that's just, it's stupid.
The one thing it does is it takes away from conference championship games. They're going to have to find that out eventually, that these games are going to need to go away because no one's going to care.
I think I was just watching. Is it Joe Klatt? Joel Klatt.
He's good.
He was highlighting that that's what this is doing, is basically making these conference championship games like obsolete.
Right. Who would you rather be last year? Georgia beat Texas to win the SEC, but Texas ended up in the Final Four of the playoff, and Georgia was out in the first round. So what was better? Texas, I think, even though Georgia won the conference. So it's a mess, Frank.
Yeah, it is.
There's a lot of money to be had, and you ain't getting any of it.
No kidding, huh? Wouldn't be here if that were the case.
Number 2.
All right, because I'm in the Scraby spot, we're going to do a Scraby story. The San Francisco 49ers defensive line renovation continues as they are working to finalize a trade with the Philadelphia Eagles for edge rusher Bryce Ruff. The trade, which is expected to be finalized next week after the calendar turns to June, includes a restructured contract for Huff. Huff is slated to make $16.75 million in fully guaranteed money in 2025, but the Eagles will take on $9.05 of that salary, leaving the Niners to handle the remaining $7.95 million this season when the deal is completed. San Francisco is expected to send a mid-round draft pick to the Eagles for Huff. Chris, solid move by Scraby's Niners, yes or no?
Oh, everything the Niners do is brilliant. And let me be the first to say that because I don't know if you remember this, Tony, but a couple of weeks ago when I said that the 49ers have nothing left in the cupboard, we know John Lynch is from San Diego, the general manager of the 49ers. And his father, Big John, who started all the sports talk radio in Southern California way back when, listens often. And he wasn't pleased that I said the 49ers cupboard was bare. He's defending John Lynch, which I don't blame him. Uh-oh, turn that down.
Uh-oh. My bad.
That's okay. I thought John Lynch was gremlining the board.
No, it's probably an ad for Applebee's.
Mr. Lynch was on your head, huh?
Mr. Lynch was following what was going on. So on this one, I'm going to say that his son is probably making a pretty good move here. And, anybody, you can add a player of this caliber. It's going to be good for your team. And when you can get the Eagles to pay for some of it, sounds like a win-win to me.
Tony, your response?
I think it's a good move. I mean, obviously, there are, they got some holes to fill. This certainly helps. Being able to rush the quarterback, certainly something that you can always use to help your defense out. I don't know that this addresses some of the bigger issues that persist with the team right now. And I think that's all because of the salary cap structure, right? At some point, you gotta have you gotta give up. You gotta start moving guys. You come up against that cap, those penalties start accumulating. So I like the move, though. I like the move for tonight.
All right, with this last one,
I don't think it's not going to get them out of last place, though. Let's confirm that for Scraby listeners out there.
We got to kind of go quick with this last one here because we are running a little bit long. College Baseball World Series has begun today. This is going to be a pick'em for the both of you. Tennessee, Texas, Vanderbilt, among the favorites. Who do you guys like, Tony, first off, in the College Baseball World Series?
Well, they're not there yet, right? They're in the playoffs.
They're in the
regionals.
Yeah, they're in the regionals
first.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, Texas is always a good team. I mean, I haven't watched a ton of these games this year, so
neither have I.
I'm gonna go ahead and say, how about North Carolina?
And that is the funniest thing I've ever heard.
I think they had a pretty big win.
They won their first game. Yeah, they won their first game. But I was thinking, unbelievably, of the 64 teams, I was going to say North Carolina. And the reason I was going to say that is because I refuse to root for any of the 13 SEC teams that are in the tournament.
Same thought.
Yeah, last year was a final of both SEC teams, Tennessee and Texas A&M. So, the SEC is going to probably win it again. But of the rest of the schools that aren't SEC, North Carolina might be the best of the lot. So
see, therein lies the problem, is that as much as we want to hate, they end up end up with two of them in the championship game.
Yeah, they have all the cards. Yeah, the SEC, blah, blah, blah. All right, we got to check some traffic before the top of the hour. Gwynn and Chris continues ahead of tonight's Padre-Pirate game. Stick around.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danek.
Traffic is sponsored by Eliminate Termite, the orange oil experts. We still just crossed the coastline. A motorcycle and truck involved South 5 near the 76. Tow truck is on scene. Everything's over the right shoulder. And now getting reports of a collision on the Del Mar Heights Road on-ramp to southbound 5. Also in the North County, collision on northbound 15 before Bernardo Center. This one's got the two left lanes blocked. Have termites? Eliminate Termite inspects, treats, and repairs termite damage, all with a full structural warranty. Their orange oil treatment is safe for people, pets, and the planet. No tents, no move out. Protect your home naturally. Schedule a free inspection at eliminatetermite.com. I'm Kelly Danek with Gwynn and Chris, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Well, we're back. Still have about a minute left to go here. Ella up and ran
Frank,
on us
I
here.
was going to leave.
I said we got to get back to it,
you
man.
didn't tell me. Communication. We're only in the communication business.
Well,
You'd think we'd know what to do.
I mean,
all right.
happen.
So we had to get the traffic in.
Yes, we did.
But we didn't time it right up to the top of the hour.
Well, we were supposed to. Normally, how this would work is traffic would be in
and before
we'd
the
play
Big
that,
Five.
and then
Yes,
get the
I
Big
know.
Five. Yeah.
This hour 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by our friends Frozen Ropes, San Diego. Hey, parents, here's a message from Coach Kurt with Frozen Ropes. Is your child 6 to 12 years old? Baseball Summer League, perfect fit for your player, starts June 16th through August 17th. It includes 8 practices, 8 games. Go to SanDiegoFrozenRopes.com, SanDiegoFrozenRopes.com. All right, recap of everything going on in the sports world, including that scintillating Rockies-Mets game, and more. Gwynn and Chris continues. Hey, it's the happy hour, folks. Welcome to it, Gwynn and Chris. 97.3 The Fan. Ahead of Padre baseball tonight. Coming up, Sam Levitt and the pregame show. That's at 5:40. And then Padres Pirates. Coming up at 6:40. Right around that time at 6:40, Nick Pivetta will throw the first pitch of the ball game. Hopefully after somebody like Robert Suarez or, whatever, throws the last pitch, Padres, will hopefully produce some fireworks during the game, but we know for sure there will be fireworks after the game. So stay tuned for that. Happy Hour brought to you by our friends at GL Pools. They are the swimming pool experts, trusted by thousands of San Diegans since 2006. Baseball season is in full swing. So is swim season. Call GL Pools. Mention the word radio. Get yourself a free month of pool service. Before we get into more Padres news and Mike Schilt with an update on Michael King, Yu Darvish, which is we played one earlier, but evidently there's another update. So we'll have that for you shortly. I wanted to mention your new favorite player, Frank, and that being wonderful Juan Soto, who just moments ago doubled into the gap, driving in a run and giving the Mets a 2-0 lead over the lowly Rockies. Pete Alonso just homered foul. So 2-0 still Mets on top. The double for Soto was his second extra base hit in the last 17 games. That's pretty unbelievable for a guy of his ability, really. And I'm on his case all the time, but I have to say, I mean, the guy's an incredible, player. I'm just not a fan. But he really has not been getting it done for the Mets. He's hitting .224. His OPS is only .745. And don't think the Mets and the people who, follow the Mets don't care about him taking pitches. And here's why I say that, Frank. I don't know if you saw it, but a couple of minutes ago while he was at bat, he took strike one. And they immediately flashed a graphic that said % of the time Juan Soto takes strike one. 68% of his at-bats, he takes strike one. The major league average is 46%.
You know what the funny part about that is? Mike Piazza didn't swing until he had strike one on him 90% of the time.
Yes, but Mike, well, he was a bit of a diva, but probably not to that extent.
So that's it. That only matters when he's not performing. That's all.
No,
that's
you're
all
right about that. I'm not going to disagree about that. When he's doing this, he hasn't homered since May 9th. So it's been 3 weeks since his last home run, and he's had 2 extra base hits, 2 doubles in the last 17 games, including the one he just got a moment ago. Personally, it doesn't bother me. You probably will get the last laugh in the end because Juan Soto he's good.
Good news is, I mean, if he continues this, there's always an opt-out after year 4.
You only got to stick with him for another 3.5 years.
Yeah, I mean, that's what are you going to do?
I don't know. Anyway, I don't miss him in San Diego. Maybe I'm the only one who doesn't miss him, but I don't. A couple of things going on. By the way, the guy who's basically replaced Juan Soto is Gavin Sheets, who for $1 million is crushing Juan Soto in every hitting category right now, which is crazy when you think about that happening.
Please refer to him by his proper God-given name, Derry Bonds. Please.
Derry Bonds. I mean, Gavin Sheets, my goodness. In fact, between him and Pivetta, who's pitching tonight, they're the 2 best free agent signings in all of baseball this offseason. I don't think there's any argument, is there? Yeah, the 2 of them have been.
I mean, you could probably throw Max Fried in there.
Oh, fair enough.
Fair.
Yeah, Max Fried's been really good. Cost a little more than Nick Pivetta and Derry Bonds, but yes, Fried has been a good free agent signing as well. Anyway, that's the Padre news of the day. There's a couple other things. Bradley Rodriguez is the newest Padre pitcher, a right-hander. being called up from Double-A San Antonio. He'll be out of the bullpen tonight, and Kyle Hurt has been sent back to the minor leagues. Still no word on who will start in that spot in the rotation next week when the Padres are in San Francisco. And, of course, all of this is dictated because of the injury problems Padres are having in the starting rotation, most notably with Michael King and with Yu Darvish still not returning. Manager Mike Shildt met with the media about an hour ago. Here's what he said then, which will get you up to date now. I think. Maybe.
In a rest phase right now still, just not doing anything baseball activity-wise?
Michael's in a rest phase, and there is a chance that he starts to play a light catch at some point today or tomorrow.
Is there any plans for Yu Darvish bullpen anytime soon, or is it just still catch?
I think it's fairly soon. Yeah, I don't know. There's been talk about it, but we'll see how he plays catch today and then evaluate it from there. But it's on the table for this weekend, but I can't say it's going to happen.
What was on the table? Just playing catch, Yu Darvish?
Bullpen for Darvish.
Bullpen for Darvish, okay. Not pitching this weekend.
No, a bullpen.
All right. You want to hear a little bit more about Darvish then? Let's get a couple more specifics for Mike Shildt on the whereabouts. Where's Waldo? In this case, Yu Darvish.
How about Yu Darvish? Where does he stand for you now? And I think you used the phrase aggressive catch.
Yeah, aggressive catch. He's throwing. It's just recovery for Darvish. He had the rehab. Ball came out good, velocity good, pitch shape's good. Now it's a matter of the aggressiveness relative to the next day aggressiveness and to be able to recover and move forward to get back to the load it's going to take to be a starting pitcher. But he is moving the arm forward. That's positive, and he's encouraged, got a smile on his face, and seems to be in a pretty good spot mentally and working towards getting more consistent with the recovery physically.
Yeah, that's not the news I really want, but that's the news you got. I would love to hear him to say, "Man, Darvish is going to start Monday, simple, or Tuesday in that open spot." I would put Darvish in Tuesday. He's ready. Let's go. We need him. Let's go.
I would have to think he's going to have another rehab start in the minors.
I know I'm dreaming, but we need this right now. Speaking of key players that are out, Bryce Harper once again not in the Philly lineup tonight, still day to day, recovering from a bruised right elbow. Caught a 95-mile-an-hour fastball from Spencer Strider on Tuesday. Just a reminder that when you get hit like that, it hurts. Yeah. People kind of poke the old school people say, well, they wear all this gear now and they armor, the body armor. Damn right they wear a body armor, wouldn't you?
Funny
the ball
bone's
coming in at 95 on, that's going to leave a mark, as the old saying goes.
Funny bone's not that funny.
No. So, I don't blame that on these guys, but Harper not quite back yet. Not going on the injured list, though. That's the good news. The one other note we mentioned with Tony earlier, the poor Marlin infielder. Was it Randall Simon or Ronnie Simon?
Ronnie Simone.
Ronnie, yeah, Simone, thank you. Not only did the Marlins part company with him today, DFA'd. Like, pack your bags, and we don't. Yeah, that's
again.
I know he had a horrible night. There's no question. He made 3 errors. They really should have given him 4. Thank you to the scorekeepers out there who took one away from him, or he would have had 4. But to lose your job basically over that a couple days later, that's tough.
I wouldn't say it was directly caused by that.
You don't think so, huh?
No.
Okay.
For one game, everyone has a bad night.
All right.
But
all right. You don't.
Again,
the timing
DFA
is pretty obvious to me. If
DFA again, just as a reminder, DFA doesn't necessarily mean you are gone.
What does it mean?
Is you are put on waivers. Every team has a chance to claim you, and then you have the option of either going to free agency or
Padres should pick him up.
Going to the minors.
Let's pick him up. He's hitting 234 before this designated for assignment. And by the way, he's listed here on the Marlins stat page As a left fielder, we are looking for one of those. One more
might have led to the 3 errors.
Yes. One more thing on left fielders. I've seen this name several times, Frank. I don't have any insight, but I've seen a lot of people say the Padres should go after Cedric Mullins. He leads the Orioles with 10 home runs, but they have a ton of outfielders. The Orioles are not doing well. Contract situation, Mullins might fit here. Great player. Just went on the injured list today. So that'll quiet those conversations for a while.
It actually might heat them up.
You think so?
Honestly.
You think the fact that he's injured might intrigue the Padres more?
Because now he's not going to cost as much. You don't have much to give, but now that he's hurt and has an injury this year, if you were to try to go
Would
get
you really
him,
want to trade for an injured player?
No, I don't. I mean, when he's healthy
Right now?
again. No, when he's healthy again.
Guess
you
what
would
he's
want
got?
it.
He's got a hamstring. We already saw how long that takes.
No, I'm saying when he's healthy again. But
Yes,
now,
but that's a month from now. I'm not going to trade for him tomorrow.
No, exactly. You're not going to
Okay.
trade. You wouldn't trade from tomorrow. I'm saying in a month and a half from now, or at the deadline, you're going to say, well, he's had an injury this year. It took him a while to come back.
All right.
Maybe taking this guy from us isn't the greatest idea for both of us, but now maybe this guy's not as good.
I like what
Might
you're trying
help
to
out a
say,
little
but
bit.
yeah, I'm not Cedric Mullins. The other guy that everybody wants is Taylor Ward, who's practically only leading baseball in home runs now. All of a sudden,
Yeah, but he's got a
For the
200. He's got under 200 to average, though.
fans only see what they want to see. Frank,
No kidding.
we need to see a timeout. Hopefully, it gets you some traffic. Might be on your way to the ballpark tonight. Grab this update. And then our Friar Friday interview. Tony and I spent some time with the newest Padre reliever. Well, he's not the newest now because Bradley Rodriguez has been called up, but the second newest, I guess, David Morgan. Good guy from Southern California. Find out more about him when Gwynn and Chris resumes. your way right now. Padres and Pirates tonight. Don't forget, after the game, stick around. Post-game fireworks spectacular. Epic fireworks show. I'm reading the copy that they sent here, Frank. I'm not predicting an epic fireworks show because I haven't been privy to it.
The fireworks shows...
But the Padres say it will be epic, and it will be set to your favorite summertime tunes.
Oh, there you go.
Always makes it fun. And I will say this. In San Diego, we're not great at everything or anything sometimes, but we are great at fireworks.
Except in, 2015? For the Big Bay boom when they all went off in 20 seconds.
Yeah, okay. Well, that was once. We're good at fireworks. Just trust me on that, Frank.
I will say the Petco Park fireworks shows are very, very nice.
We'll have a good night out at the ballpark, and hopefully the Padres with Pavetta will be able to prevail. Elsewhere, Dodgers play the Yankees tonight, so that'll be kind of fun, I guess, for fans of those two teams. No fun for you, Frank, because you hate both squads.
Yep.
Like with a passion.
Yep.
Elsewhere in baseball, Reds over the Cubs earlier today, 6-2. Couple of games tonight. Your Mets, 3-0 over the Rockies. Juan Soto with a rare RBI double in that game for New York. Maybe they'll get off his case for a little while. Giants are up 2-0 on the Marlins in the 5th. Those are kind of the scores you need. And now, a chance for you to meet one of the newest Padres, pitcher, who made his debut this week, David Morgan. Excited to have him on and give you a chance to meet him. Tony and I sat with him earlier.
I think our Friday guest is...
Hold on, wait a second. That was the right interview. However, there was an issue with that, so I'm going to have to do this really quick. There was
people get to see a lot of behind the scenes stuff. Even if they're not counting on it, right?
See? Yeah, exactly. And it always helps when you have a dope at the helm. Here we go. Now we got the actual one.
All right.
I think our Friday guest is ready. Padre reliever David Morgan joins us here on Gwynn and Chris on this Friday. David, thank you for your time. How are you, my friend?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Let's start with you finally got some action out there, man. You came in. What was your pulse like at that time? Did you have any nerves? I'm sure you did, but just talk a little bit about what it felt like to get on that mound finally.
Yeah, there was definitely a little bit of nerves, going out there. Didn't really have enough time to think about it. Close game in the 8th inning. Got to go out there and get 2 outs. So, didn't think about myself too much. Just wanted to get 2 outs, help the team win. Obviously, packed house, sold out stadium. It was pretty loud, but that was a cool moment.
I was going to say, David, I don't care. You got to, even if you think you're a pretty cool customer, running out there in a packed stadium like that, trying to remind yourself, don't worry about it. I've done this a million times. I've pitched. I know how to, stepped on the rubber. I look at the catcher. I get the sign. I throw the ball. But it's not the same, right? It's just at least for a moment, like you said, it's not the same.
Right. Yeah. No, there's definitely a pulse to it for sure.
David, you obviously, well, not obviously, it sounds like you grew up a Padre fan, enjoyed this team. What was the era that you were paying attention to as a Padre fan?
Kind of all of it, but
okay.
When I really look back on it, early 2000s, with Hoffman and PV, those dudes were kind of my idols growing up. I got to meet Hoffy obviously when I signed, and he reached out to me yesterday and texted me, sent me a pretty cool text. So it's pretty awesome to idolize those guys and now have those guys in my corner. But yeah, that early 2000s team, and then obviously kind of what's been happening here later 2019 2020, how this organization has gone and how cool it's been, and getting into the playoffs now, and obviously it's been a little bit different now. Teams grown a lot, and the stadium is loud, and kind of paid attention to it all though. But that early 2000s team was pretty cool to me.
David Morgan is our guest. He's from Southern California, as Tony kind of alluded to, Mission Viejo, and you attended the famous, and if you haven't played like a college basketball preseason game against this school, you probably have never heard of them, Hope International University in Fullerton. And I bring this up, David, because I think young people who are growing up in the game think that they have to be on the biggest stage to get discovered. And I think people around baseball will always say, no matter where you are, they'll find you. And so I think you're a great example of that, right? You're at Hope University. Tell us how, you felt you were discovered and were able to get from there to here.
Yeah, it's been a wild journey. I had aspirations to play at a big school, and I kind of thought that was my only way in here. But playing for Coach Altabelli at a junior college, he kind of showed me the path of what it was going to look like and who I needed to impress, and ended up going to an even smaller school than that. And my coaches there told me, hey, the reality of your situation is tougher than most, and you have a really good arm, so why don't you step on the mound and just give yourself a better shot. And started pitching a little bit, grew some interest in me there, and got invited out to Petco because of that, and then got a shot, and they ended up signing me as a pitcher. So the dream was always to be here as a shortstop, and obviously that changed a little bit.
We should have known you were also a shortstop. Every Padre is used to be a shortstop, I think.
Right, yeah. I mean, regardless of how I got here, it doesn't really matter. I'm still playing the game and still have a chance to, play in the big leagues and, help this team win. So regardless of how, I'm still here.
David Morgan joins us here on Gwynn and Chris. He has gotten a couple tastes of being on that big league mound. Let's talk a little bit about your pitching coach, Ruben Niebla. I mean, everybody seems to really enjoy being around him. For you personally, I know you've gotten to work with him a little bit in spring, obviously, and now you're getting to work side by side. What has been some things that you've been able to kind of take away from Ruben and apply some of the knowledge he's given you?
I think the biggest thing is just how competitive he is. He's an animal. he's an awesome dude to work with. Doesn't give any handouts. He is on top of it every single day, and he watches my throwing program and my touch and feels before games, and gives me a little feedback here and there. Obviously, being new, he didn't want to change too much right out the gates, but I'm sure as I keep throwing, he'll have more stuff for me. But I think the biggest thing is just how competitive he is and how much he wants to win.
David Morgan is with us. How is your welcome to the Padre bullpen? How do those guys bring a new pitcher into the fold out there? Are there any? They didn't pull any pranks on you, or would they? That you could share?
No pranks.
No pranks. Okay, good. But how was that?
Some of the starters kind of played around with me a little bit my first time up here, but nothing too much. The bullpen's been very, very welcoming. Obviously, you get to this stage and, nothing but congratulations for me, and, welcome me in with open arms, and they want to see me succeed, because if I'm out there succeeding, then we're winning. So yeah, no pranks from the bullpen, a little bit from the starters, but nothing too bad.
Do you have a pair of City Connect shoes yet?
Not shoes, no.
Not shoes. All right. Well, what do you? You have a glove?
City Connect.
I had like a mint colored glove.
Okay.
Like from 44 from a while ago. I don't know if I have it with me anymore. But no, nothing.
You better go home and get it, David. You might need it tonight. It's Friday night.
Yeah.
Have your parents and family been able to see you yet and experience some of this with you?
Yeah. They've been at the games. I've been getting them into the family section. They've been able to come down on the field after games and stuff. So got to celebrate with them after I debuted. And yeah, that was really cool to see all my friends and family out here supporting.
Well, David, off to a good start, man. We've enjoyed watching you so far. Congratulations Good luck the rest of the way. We know you got to get out of here. Thanks for spending some time with us.
Right on. Yeah, thanks for having me.
No problem. David Morgan, Padres relief pitcher.
Well done, David Morgan. And I was going to say I hope we don't see you tonight, but because if we do, it'll probably be in the middle innings, and I'd like to see Pavetta go 7 or so. But good having David Morgan on. That's a great story. The guy's at Hope International College, basically. He went to Orange Coast College and then Hope International. That is not your normal ticket to the big leagues.
From Mission Viejo, right?
He's from Mission Viejo, yeah. But my point being, as I said to him in the interview, because a lot of parents out there, listen up, parents, and kids for that matter, you think you got to play in high-profile situations. It's fun to play in those. But if you don't find yourself to a high-profile situation, go play where you can play. And if you're good, they'll find you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And David Morgan's proof of that. Guy's at Hope International University. Now he's in the big leagues.
Yeah, certainly.
So what are you rolling this for? You got
your
a minute and a
camera
half. Oh, that's the camera sign.
Yes.
Camera gets messed up too often. Tennessee's leading Florida 10-3. That's 10-3. It's a wild softball score. 4th inning at the Women's College World Series. Oklahoma's looking for, I believe, their 5th consecutive title in that tournament. That's a pretty good run, I would say.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of teams in college softball. At Oklahoma may make it 5 in a row. They did win their first game in dramatic fashion yesterday.
Now, are they like college baseball where they're in the regionals now, or are they?
No, they're into the World Series now.
Yes,
they started ahead. They start with the regionals, then they have the super region. Their setup. The women's softball is the same as baseball. They have regionals, then super regionals, and then World Series. They're into the World Series now. And Tennessee, this is an elimination game. And again, just we talked about in the Big Five, it's 2 SEC teams playing, of course. 5 of the teams in the World Series for women, 8 teams, 5 of them are in the SEC.
As you do.
So, yes, we keep complaining about the SEC, and we're tired of them, but bottom line, they kick everybody's butt.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to argue it. Anything else this weekend, Frank? What are you doing for you got the UEFA Champions League tomorrow? Who you got in the final?
Yes, I do, of course.
Who do you have?
Inter Milan, as I've been
supporting. Sweater there?
Scarf.
It is.
This is commemorating their 20th league championship last year. So this is
I didn't even see that.
We are ready to go.
I didn't see the scarf beyond the garishness of your yellow and orange striped shirt there.
Thank you.
Inter Milan, I don't know anything about them, but the fact that they beat FC Barcelona 7-6 in a combined total in the semifinals makes me want to root for them in the final. Because I just love the fact that those teams combined to score 13 goals in soccer.
Yeah,
that's phenomenal.
It has been one heck of a year for Inter. Unfortunately, it did not result in them winning the league championship for a second consecutive year. They came up 1 point short because, of course, they would.
But they could win the UEFA Champions League, which would be a pretty big deal.
Yes, they could win Champions League, which would be an absolutely massive deal.
That game will be tomorrow. Or match will be tomorrow at noon, I think.
Yes.
On CBS.
Yes.
So enjoy Padre baseball. Enjoy the UEFA Champions League. Knicks Pacers.
Yes.
Monday, tune in to see what shirt Frank's wearing and whether or not the Knicks are still alive. A little French Open tennis. We haven't even talked about that. You can watch some of that this weekend. So enjoy. Have a good one. And we'll be back on Monday for Tony Gwynn Jr. and Scraby, Chris Ello, Big Frank, Padre Baseball. Sam Levitt's pregame show next on 97.3 The Fan.